Welcome to our first live stream of the Hard Rock Show for 2023. I'm Andrew.
I'm Dave.
We're back again. We're in a new year, but we haven't learned how to be on time yet, so apologies for being late. We always are. You should hopefully be getting used to us being that sort of 10 to 15 minutes past 8:30 when we get the live stream. So anyway, we're here. Thank you all for joining us, and make sure you get in the comments and say hi if you do tune in. Here we go. Nicole is saying, waiting patiently for the lights to dim and the show begins. Here we go. And Terry's here as well saying, hi, guys. Good to see some regulars from last year back with us again this year. Tonight is obviously another big one. We have a lot to get through as always. So we're going to do our first round of our Canadian album battle series, which is going to be Mood Swings from Harem Scarem versus Metalized from Sword. We're going to discuss the retirement of Ozzy Osbourne. We're going to have a classic from Led Zeppelin, as well as a new one from the Butterfly Effect in terms of reviews tonight. My notes are all fucked up here for a second, so I don't know what happened there. But anyway, there's just heaps to get through. So as always, links and all that sort of stuff are in the description. So make sure you like, follow, subscribe for us. The songs and music we're talking about tonight, there's links for that in the description. Put them in the comments as we go through as well. But a big thank you, as always, to our fantastic sponsors in Squid Ink Screenprinting, Alt-Cvlt Rockstar Finance. Their details, just like ours, are in that description. So make sure you give them a like and a follow too. And if you want to help us directly, then check out our Patreon page for more information. All those details, like I was saying, are in the description box, along with a whole lot more. So make sure you get around it, check it all out, and we'll have more to come very, very soon. Here we go. Nicole is here saying hello all. Darren's here saying, hey all, good to see you again. Same with Rowan, good to see you. And Vinny says, hey, the boys are back in town. Goes purple polish. Yeah. That's cool. Enjoy the Nutella. And on Nudes, the highlights, having a quick tune in before bedtime routine kicks in. Awesome, man. Good to see you as well, buddy. Hopefully you're all keeping well out there and have had a great break over the Christmas New Year period. We did take a little bit longer than we originally planned to get back into the swing of things here, but we are well and truly back into it now. We got a lot to get through this year. It's going to be another big one. But I guess before we get stuck into all of the usual things to do here, Dave, how have you been?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm great. I'm excited to be back. It's good to be talking to everyone again. It's been weeks since we've had our streams, and it's good to be able to catch up with everyone again and read what people want to tell us and what they want to challenge us with and so forth, which is always scary and fun. But we've got a massive year planned out, so it's cool that we can get back into it. We've done some TV stuff already, but this is our first live stream, obviously. But yeah, life has been busy over the Christmas period. We've had obviously Christmas, and I now have a battle jacket, which I'm really excited about. My daughter got it for me. Funnily enough, I was getting her a battle jacket as well because she got interested after watching Stranger Things. Told you get to design it yourself and put your patches where you want, and the main band is on the back. People watching can guess what my back patch is, not just the band but the design as well. Okay,
there's no actually kind of fitting because Nudes has gone, Dave, let's see the battle jacket. So let's get some guesses into the comments, and then we'll give it a few minutes, and then Dave can show and tell. Or not.
Front patch, it's obviously Kiss and Hendrix.
Yep.
We've got Maiden and Metallica. The back patch, people will have to guess. It's pretty fucking obvious. We'll leave it and see who gets it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so me and my daughter got each other the same Christmas present, which is awesome. But I cut the sleeves off this myself. But fucking sewing is a new acquired skill. Pricking yourself fucking hurts. But yeah, and then we had New Year's Eve, and we had New Year's Eve at a mate's place. He's got kids the same age as mine. Yeah, got a pool and a barbecue, and drank ourselves stupid, which is always fun. And then Christmas holidays, kids are back at school now, and grade 6 is starting for my daughter, so everything's full on. And I went to Glam Fest last week. There was a review that I filmed. I'm not going to bore everyone with the live streams. We're going to do it a bit differently this year. We'll pre-tape all my prattling on where you won't have to be subjected to it if you don't choose to be. You can always press the button and skip it. But it was a fucking great night. Found some new bands that I like. And obviously, Eclipse and Wednesday 13 was an amazing 2 hours, one following the other. But yeah, that was a fucking good night. But apart from that, keeping well, keeping happy. How you doing, man?
Yeah, good. It's now fully back into the swing of things. So like you said at the top, we've got a busy year planned out. So I've been hard at work behind the scenes doing that. Aside from that, just been taking a break. Got up to Queensland with Jody and had some time away, which is always what we'd like to do at the end of every year, and just get away and do sweet fuck all wherever we can. We don't often get a chance to do it in the year, especially not with the workload that I've got going on between the day job and this. But yeah, it's Been good. The new year's just sort of settled into its groove pretty quickly, actually.
Yeah.
Hardest part was just navigating, getting things back into the swing of things around, TV production, and then getting back into this side. And like you said, we've got a lot planned out this year, but we're going to do things a bit differently, which I'll tease a bit more later on. But yeah, we're going to do a few different things this year. It's going to be a bit of a year of change. So there'll have more tonight and more in the weeks to come, with this year being a big year of change for all things at the show. I've got Jeff in the waiting room here, Dave, and he put his guess in for your back patch, which was brush, which
Much rock the world. Here's the reveal.
No, not yet. Let's see what the comments are. No, but everything is good. We're good. Just getting excited now to get stuck into a brand new year. So stick with us. There's a lot to come. What do we got here? So Peter says, cheers. Good to see you, buddy. Sally's here again saying hi, guys. Good to see you as well. Johnny Wombat is asking if it's ABBA. Now, if it's ABBA, I'll die of shock.
No chance in hell. I don't even like metal covers of ABBA songs.
Nudes has asked if it's Party Cannon. So that'd be... We're getting all the wrong guesses.
They're sponsoring me because they love my review. So I'm a walking advertisement.
Well, I said wrong answers only tonight. TC is going obviously Limp Bizkit. So there we go. That's Tim's contribution.
Next week I'll be wearing the red hat.
Yeah, okay. Vinny's gone Whitney Houston. Wow. Here we go. Maybe a sort of serious one. Darren has gone Gunners, Appetite for Destruction. That's possible.
Winner.
There we go. Hang on. Let me do this. Hang on. There we go. Solo layout. Ta-da.
There we go.
You got it, Darren. First guess to get it right. Well done.
Couldn't be anything else.
No.
But I was seriously thinking either Kiss or Maiden, because they got some fantastic fucking artworks.
Yeah.
So might have to start another one, just for those days where those other bands slightly make me feel better than Guns N' Roses. It happens.
Yeah.
There's a cool Wednesday 13 one too.
Sorry, mate?
There's a cool Wednesday 13 back patch as well. It's got Peter Cushing as Dracula.
Yeah.
At the top. Wednesday, Peter Cushing as Dracula, and down the bottom it says "Bloodsucker Motherfucker."
Yeah.
Perfect.
Cool. Sorry, I've got one dog inside with me, the other dog's outside, and they're both at the door looking at each other, but it's a glass door. So I'm waiting for just pandemonium to erupt with two Great Danes staring at each other through a door. Through a glass window pane. Yeah, when this house can be a bit rickety at the best of times, so I'll see what happens. Darren said, not enough battle jackets being at concerts these days. Need to bring them back. That's a
yes, we do.
Ron had a good guess. He's going Guns N' Roses, Usual Illusion, or Appetite as well. So there we go. Sally said back patches brush. So she jumped in on Jeff's comment there too. Vinny said, we went to Port Douglas, Queensland, all 7 years. Fucking hot and humid, plus GST. Nice. Cool. We were up in the Gympie Kin area. That's where we went, up in Queensland. That's where we go everywhere, Vinny. So every year, Vinny, I should say. That's our destination of choice to get away. It's sweet fuck all to do up that way. So it's nice and quiet and, yeah, peaceful for us anyway, which is a big difference to here where we hear the fucking sirens every 5 minutes on Plenty Road there. So that's that. Alrighty. Yep, the dog's going to open the door. I'm waiting for that to happen. The problem is we've had new neighbors move in over the other side there, and they've got 2 or 3 dogs, and they always like to hang around near the fence line. And because one barks, the other one barks, so I've got 5 dogs sometimes just having a chorus effect in the backyard, which is fantastic at all hours of the day, and especially when our 2 are the loudest ones at a lot. So it's a heap of fun. Nicole's going, still hot and humid up there. Yeah, our family have said it's having a massive heat wave, and everyone's just waiting for the weather to break up there. But hopefully it does change for you soon enough. All right, let's get into proceedings. Let's get stuck into things. We're going to start with our songs of the week for this time round. And Dave, yours is up first. So there's a link in the description, but there's also one in the comments now for Tough with American Hair Band. Now, I can see why Dave picked this song for his song of the week this week. But Dave, why don't you try and enlighten us all as to why?
Okay, firstly, I apologize. Apart from the required listening for this show and new music that I've done reviews for recently, thanks to Glamfest, I've been living in 1989, which for me is fucking amazing. For some of you, you might hate. But during Glamfest, Tough, that I've never heard of before at all, were up there. They did a really good set. And at the end, they played the song American Hair Band. Now, Conrad, Patreon supporter who's joined us a few times, he was telling me about this before, so I was kind of expecting it. But it's to the riff of Sad But True in a parody of Kid Rock's American Badass. Now, Kid Rock sampled Metallica. Yeah, it's fucking great, isn't it? Now, Kid Rock sampled Metallica, tough, whatever, fucking
Tough.
play it. They play it properly. But yeah, this just mentions everything that was cool about the fucking 80s, you know, references all the bands, all the names, and it takes a few shots at grunge. Like, it starts off with Kurt Cobain's gone, but I'm back, and won't waste my breath, but here's a clue. Big gonna tell Eddie and Pearl Jam a big fuck you. And grunge trash. But then it just mentions all these cool bands and like all these references to like Twisted Sister and Tommy Lee spinning the sticks, and yeah, it's just a fun song. And after hearing it at Glamfest, I checked it out, and it's just been playing all the time. My daughter likes it too. Thankfully, there's a censored version because there's a few choice words that she's not ready for yet. But yeah, she recognizes a lot of these bands, and I've actually learned a couple of band names from this, so I'm still learning stuff. But yeah, Tough were a good fucking band. They played a good set. And if you do know the band, he used to look like Bret Michaels with the long hair, and he doesn't anymore. He's got like a backwards hat on. It's all gone. They're not a hair band anymore. They're a bald band. So equality for all and whatnot. But if you like your fun shit, this is just it takes you back to 1989 when it was fun. So sorry, I had to play an old song, but I'm stuck in 89 again.
Well, the point of this is basically that the song of the week thing, like, we try to make it new music focused, obviously, as always, but at the same time, it can be just anything that's got your attention lately. And this one sort of fits the bill. And I can see exactly why this one got Dave's attention. If you know Dave at all, you know this is the sort of thing that's just going to get his ears pricked up in an instant. It is the whole thing of, parodying a parody of a parody kind of a thing. So it's the copy for copy kind of argument. It's very, very weird. So, it's a piss take on Kids Rock, American Badass. But, which both those versions, like this song and the Kid Rock version, are nothing but that Sad But True, and that's what this one's all based in. So if you like that song, if you like that riff, you're going to find something to enjoy here anyway. Christ, the lyrics are tacky as all fuck. Tacky as all fuck, but they are very well done. It's very clever. It is so full of cliches, you can't help but laugh at this fucking thing. But I don't mean this, and you're not. It's more like laughing with it versus laughing at it. It's very clever. You got to give it its due in just how it's put together. The whole point of this song, like you've said, is take the piss out of grunge while celebrating the hair metal era. But it's one of those ones where, if you know American Badass, you know what you're going to get basically out of this. But what they did really different was they sampled. Oh, well, it didn't sample. They played other things. So there's a little taste of the riff from Sweet Child of Mine. There's a little moment that's a nod to Twisted Sister. There's bits and pieces in there. Yeah, there's all sorts of stuff in there. That just they copied and pasted, but actually played it. Bits and pieces from different songs to make the point and make it work, which is cool. It's one of those ones that is so cringeworthy, it's actually good, if that makes any sense. Like, you sit there and go, oh my God, they did it, but it's actually entertaining and fun.
Somebody had to do it.
Yeah. I don't know. It's cool. It's a good little callback thing. It's a fun little thing. But I liked how they also took the piss out of themselves. Well, they didn't take themselves seriously while doing it, which is actually the self-deprecating part is what probably makes it actually listenable. If you believe they were serious with what they were saying, you'd probably want to pull your hair up because the whole thing's just, all tongue firmly planted in cheek. It's entertaining. So like I said, I can see why Dave picked this one, but it's a fun little track. Let us know what you think of it out there, people. Check it out and give us your thoughts as always. Here we go. Darren says, don't forget the song also incorporates other riffs too, which is what we've just covered there.
When they did it live, instead of doing the Twisted Sister riff, they did Dr. Feelgood.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, so that was cool.
That's a nice touch. Darren on YouTube's going pretty cool, hilarious, nice there. And Johnny has said, great song clip, good piss take. It's pretty fun. It's just a bit of fun.
Cobain at the start of the video.
I know. It's got just him. He's put on it. But it's also the picture with arsehole, and the people that put the video together did a good job with that one as well. It's not an official clip, even though it says official. It's really not. But they did a pretty clever job with that one as well. Alrighty, TC is actually going to join us a bit later on for the battle coming up. But for now, we've got a song that he's chosen for the week, which is Blackstone Cherry with Out of Pocket, their brand new single. It's their first new stuff in about 3 years, I think, and it's their first new release with their new bass player. So new stuff all around. But Dave, how'd you go with this one?
Yeah, I like it. This is a cool band. You should listen to them. They're a good band.
Mm-hmm.
But I like how it shifts between the laid back feel in the verses and then more heavier in choruses, and it's just seamless. It just flows really, really nicely. It's a good solid rock song. The vocals are amazing, but if you know this band, you know that that's always going to be cool. And it's not just that he's got a good rock voice; he's got emotive weight behind.
Yes.
How he takes the words that he's saying and he makes you understand what he's going for. And these lyrics are really interesting. The music video is pretty cool. I didn't quite get the ending of it. I watched it a few times, like, it's all his picture, big fucking deal.
No, it was the bag that he took everything in. So while you're watching it through, he's putting everything in the bag, and then he put the picture at the end. The picture made him realize that he'd taken something from a veteran, and then he put it all back on the front doorstep. So it's a
now I get it.
Yeah.
I don't know, like he stole his picture, big fucking deal. Like that makes sense. Okay, yeah, regret. I like it. That's cool.
We're explaining things on the fly as we go. Link is in the comments, folks. It's also in the description box. Make sure you check it out. We're educating Dave as we go along. He's learning about 1989 and 2023 at the same time. So yeah, I really enjoyed the riff on this one. I like how they've but I liked how they also gave the bass sort of really good center stage sonically, especially during the verse. So it was really cool. I don't know if it's intentional or not, but it's like, here's the new bass player. Here's a moment for him straight from the start. It's actually a nice touch in this one as well. There's some real bite in this one too. Like, these guys are always melodic. Like you said, the vocals are fantastic, but there's for this band, it's definitely on the heavier side of things. And I really did enjoy it. It's a nice dose of aggression from this band, but there's a fantastic hook in this. I love how it gets stuck in your head so easily. And the weighted lyrics in this, like the storytelling from Blackstone Cherry, is second to none as far as I'm concerned. I've loved them for a while. I've seen them, interviewed them a few times. They're lovely guys as well as fantastic musicians. And the storytelling they've got is just brilliant. And this one tells a story. So it's funny how the video tells a story, but also the song is, they're sick of feeling out of pocket or being out of pocket. I think so. It's between the video and the song, got this commentary on, American civilization as it stands right now, which is really interesting when it comes to, the wealth imbalance, and then the veteran support or respect, that kind of stuff. So there's a lot to take in a little, 3.5 4-minute song, but I really enjoyed it. I thought they've done it really well. And, I'm a big fan of this band, so they can't do much wrong for me. But I think anyone that likes heavy rock or hard rock at all should really enjoy this one. Cool video, cool song. I enjoyed this quite a bit. So I'm glad that Tim put it forward, because I probably would have if he didn't. So there we go. It's one of those ones that, I definitely enjoyed it a lot. So make sure you check it out, people, and let us know what you think of that one. Well, I move on to my pick of the week this week, and I guess I'll go first on this one. And this is Torrential Thrill with their new track High Society. In the comments, in the description box, as always, you know what to do. Go and check out the link and let us know what you think. But this band has a new album, State of Disaster, due April, I think April 1st from memory, but yeah, due in April. We've been longtime fans of this band for a number of years now at the show. We interviewed them way back on the old set. There's a photo kicking around, I think, when I was interviewing these guys, of Caesar standing up behind the bar looking like a bartender kind of thing. It's actually a really cool photo. But yeah, we've been aware of these guys for a while. We love them to bits. And this one is another song with a really cool fucking riff. They've got really good use of harmony, both in the guitar and the vocals as well, across this one. And I thought the video was pretty funny with the whole eating contest thing. They always have, some fun with their videos, and this one's no exception to that at all. Another one with a cool hook as well, but I love the groove in this one in particular too. The way they sort of put a bit of, not danceability, but it makes you want to move with it. Like live, this would be a lot of fun to see this song. I reckon it'd go off. Great lyrics in this one too. There's actually a nice little solo. Out of the 3 tracks we're talking about here, I think it's probably the best solo of the bunch by a fair margin, to be honest. I think the solo in this one's really cool. And I reckon this is one of those tracks, much like Blackstone Cherry, that a lot of our audience will enjoy. So please check it out. I love the up-tempo gear change toward the end as well. It's nothing overly complicated. It's a pretty straightforward heavy rock song, but it finishes strong. It's got a good tempo change, and I look forward to the album coming in April. We've been waiting a few years for that one, so I'm keen as all fuck on the back of this new single. I think this is the 3rd single from what's going to be on the album coming up. But yeah, that's what I thought about. I really enjoyed this one. But what about you, Dave?
Yeah, me too. It's always good to get new music from this band, and it has been a few years. I
Mm.
have seen them live a few times. They always put on a hell of a show. All good guys, really good to
Good luck.
talk to.
Yep.
But fuck, I remember their last album. There was one day I was just completely like exhausted from the week. I just
Yeah.
spent my Friday night. I was just laying on the floor next to the stereo with headphones on. Just I listened to their album, and it finished. I'm like, fuck, I should probably get up and go to bed. Like, nuts, reached over, press play again. I didn't move until for the duration of the album. Just
Nice.
great, great songs that these guys produce. And post lockdown and post COVID, waiting for all the local bands to just spring back up. And
Yeah.
I'm so glad that this is one of the bands in the back.
Mm-hmm.
And fuck, what a killer riff to have in this song.
Yeah.
There's a cool concept between the song and great hook with fast cars, money, and your Barbie doll. Like, yeah, I know these people. I can picture this. This is cool. The fucking guitar solo is killer. Nice use of the wah pedal. Overall, this is a very cool song. It's fun to listen to over and over. And then there's the video. The video is very well done. Great band performance in a cut with, like, he gets the milkshake poured on him and he gets stuff shoved in him. He's suffering for his art, but thank you because it's entertaining and we appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Those burgers look fucking tasty. God damn.
We'll have to make
have their fast cars, their money, and their Barbie dolls. You guys got the burgers. I'm jealous as fuck about that. That's what I aspire to. Tasty burgers. That's it. Rock and roll.
That's out near my old stomping grounds. Might have to make like a crew gathering out there and just ransack the joint one day for all their burgers. I reckon we'll have some fun with that.
Fuck. Well, we'll do the pub crawl for the beer, but we'll also do a burger crawl.
That'd be interesting. Fuck. We'll roll home, man. I can't eat as much as I used to anymore.
Roll.
God, here we go. Oh, fucking hell.
First pub of the year.
Oh my God. We're off to a start. We're off to a really good start. Welcome to 2023, folks. We've gotten a bit older, but we haven't gotten any smarter or any better with our jokes. So take that.
Cheesy burgers.
All righty. That's the singles. I'm quickly going to do a bit of a gig plug here, so just bear with me.
Hey, did you see the treatment just announced?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, the treatment are coming.
Yeah, I did see they just announced that too. You put it in
the chat. Their first headline show in Australia. They've been here before. I saw them at Cherry Bar, but this is apparently the first headline show. So that's cool. They're a good fucking band.
Yeah, it's the first time in a long time for them. The first time with the current lineup as well. And they've just dropped what appears to be a pretty good new single. So I haven't had a chance to check it out yet, but they've just dropped a new single too. So hopefully more to come because their last album was actually really fucking good. So I'm looking forward to what they've got coming up next. Yeah, that was cool. Oh yeah, Andy's gone and Udo as well. Udo announced a tour that was just the other day.
Yeah,
there's a lot. What I know, Dave, you're not a huge fan of this one. Smashing Pumpkins announced one as well. They've got theirs.
I like that he's bringing NWA wrestling over and the support bands, but he can leave his shitty band at home. Fucking Smashing Pumpkins make Nirvana look fun.
From Dave, that's saying something.
Jesus.
Yeah.
The cool thing about them is when they were on The Simpsons.
Tell us what you really think, Dave. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, Vinny says and Smashing Pumpkins in Ballarat. I think they're at Cryle Castle, if I'm correct. The whole
that's a great Cryle Castle.
Yeah, but they've got some good bands on that bill as well.
Yeah, they really do.
Vinny also said before those burgers 300. What was that? Sorry.
A Mill on the Sniffers and Red Hook.
Yeah,
and Jane's Addiction. I didn't know Jane's Addiction was still around. Shit.
Yeah, it's still going. They've been been going for a while.
Is Dave Navarro still in the band?
Yeah, I think Dave Navarro is still in the band. I think he's kind of like the one holding it all together, to be honest. So
really, something wrong with that dude. Something wrong. He was married to Carmen. Was it Carmen Electra? He couldn't get her pregnant. He couldn't get her pregnant. How the fuck do you not get her pregnant?
I don't know. It's not my place to say anything on that one. I have no idea. And Vinny says those burgers are probably $110 each on today's prices. It's probably a very good point there as well.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna have to go back to the top here for a second to find the right link because I've copied the wrong fucking link. Where am I at? This is what I want.
Okay, while Andrew talks, I'm going to tell a joke. So I was walking through the country, and I saw a bunch of cows smoking the joint. The stakes were high.
Oh my God, Dave. Really? Darren's gone, don't have the seed, Dave. So
That's Nick Cave, man. He's got bad seeds.
Oh, yeah, well, that's true. Alrighty, in the comments, you got the right link now. This is Jeff Tate in Melbourne with Demon Head is the link I'm actually sharing tonight. So for this one, this is pretty cool. The reason for sharing, obviously, is because we've got, Demon Head involved. We love Demon Head because Dave from that band is also at Squid Ink Screenprinting. But also Jeff Tate, this one's pretty interesting because it's like Jeff Tate's Operation Mindcrime, but he's performing, I think, Rage for Order and Empire. Or tracks. I'm not sure if he's doing all of them in full or two classic Queens. Oh, yes, two albums in their entirety, Rage for Order and Empire. So they're playing those two albums in one show, which is pretty fucking cool. Along with Demon Head as a support. Now, Demon Head supported Jeff Tate over in Europe, so it's coming over here and just sort of returning the favor again, which is really cool. So it's good to see Demon Head getting a leg up on this one too. But this particular one is the start of the tour. The rest of the tour, you got Wednesday, 8th of Feb is this one at the Crocs in Melbourne. Then Thursday, 9th of Feb in Sydney, Manning Bar. And then Friday, 10th of Feb, Adelaide at the Gov. That is what's happening on this little tour here. So it kicks off next Wednesday. What have we got here? That's about it. I don't know how much tickets are and all that sort of stuff at this point in time, but there's a link there. If you're interested, go and check it out because from all reports, everything I've heard about his touring stuff, his live stuff of late is nothing short of exemplary. And I can vouch for Demon Head being a fucking fantastic band as well. So please do go and check it out there as well.
Jeff was great at Avantasia. He was part of that a few years ago, and that was fantastic.
Ah, yes, you did see that. Yeah, that's right.
There was no way I was missing that gig. 3.5 hours of pure awesomeness. Fucking
that
great.
Was. I remember your review of that one too.
Yeah, that was in the car directly afterwards, and I'm like,
yeah, that was cool though. Conrad's here saying, hi guys, sorry I'm late. No, you're all good, mate. Whenever you get here is always good to see you. But Lee's corrected us. He's gone, Dave Navarro currently not playing in Jane's Addiction, on leave, mystery illness. He's suspecting long COVID, which is probably a possibility there as well. We had Mitch LaFon, who does a lot of music stuff and has done for a long time out of Canada. He's basically in semi-retirement at this point in time with long COVID as well. So it's hit a few people in the music industry. But yeah, hopefully everyone gets better sooner rather than later. But yeah, that's a shame. But that's where we're at with that. So that's the gig plug. That is a bit going on there. So hopefully you'll go and check that out. Now, TC, if you're watching, Dave and I are about to go into the hot topic now. And then I want you to jump in because right after this, we'll do the battle part, which is what Jeff is here waiting for as well. But we're going to do something just before that I want you to be involved in, which won't take long. So give yourself maybe 5 minutes to get yourself prepped, and then we'll get stuck into it with you, TC. So fingers crossed you're seeing this. Got your earbud, just one of them attached, and we'll see you shortly as well. But for now, we're going to get into this week's hot topic, which is pretty clear. As announced last night, Ozzy Osbourne, the great and powerful Oz, has announced basically his retirement from touring. I'm just trying to try and find the actual screenshot here that I took of it, which of course I fucking put somewhere further back. Here we go. There's a statement from Ozzy reads, this is probably one of the hardest things I've ever had to share with my loyal fans. As you may all know, 4 years ago this month, I had a major accident where I damaged my spine. My one and only purpose during this time has been to get back on stage. My singing voice is fine. However, after 3 operations, stem cell treatments, endless physical therapy sessions, and most recently groundbreaking cybernetics treatment, my body is still physically weak. I'm honestly humbled by the way you've all patiently held on to your tickets for all this time, but in all good conscience, I've now come to the realization that I'm not physically capable of doing my upcoming European/UK tour dates, as I know I couldn't deal with the travel required. Believe me when I say that the thought of disappointing my fans really fucks me up more than you will ever know. Never would I have imagined that my touring days would have ended this way. My team is currently coming up with ideas for where I will be able to perform without having to travel from city to city and country to country. I want to thank my family, my band, my crew, my longtime friends, Judas Priest, and of course, my fans for their endless dedication, loyalty, and support, and for giving me the life that I've never, ever dreamed I would have. I love you all. So there we go. It's a pretty heartfelt statement there. I think it's pretty safe to say it's not a huge shock for anyone there. And all right, hang on. We'll get Jeff in actually, we'll bring Jeff in now. Let's bring him in now while he's here. Everyone say hello to Jeff.
Mate,
You've muted yourself, Jeff.
I need to hear you.
You need to be able to hear me. Can you hear me now?
Now we can hear you. There we
All
go.
right. Yeah. Hey, thanks for having me on. How is everybody?
Good, mate.
Good,
How about you?
Yeah, great. Fantastic.
Awesome.
Can't complain anyway. I look a little washed out. I think I need to fix my camera or something. I don't know what's going on.
We'll work that as we go along.
A ghost. Yeah. Sorry.
We'll do ghost later.
Yeah. Maybe that'll help a little bit. There we go.
But yeah, so I was just quickly, basically setting up the preamble there for the hot topic tonight, which is Ozzy Osbourne retiring, and obviously it's not a huge surprise to anyone, but I wanted to throw to Jeff first because he's actually got a theory he sells me about Ozzy's retirement from touring. So what's your thoughts there, Jeff?
Well, we all know about Sharon, right? Everyone knows about Sharon Osbourne. So don't think for a second that she hasn't had some play on this. And I think honestly, the timing of this is a little sus because we got in 3 days, we have the Grammys. And Ozzy's album is up for Best Album. And I think that maybe I wouldn't put it past her that this is a ploy for a sympathy vote for him to get the best rock album or best metal album. I really do think that it would. I wouldn't put it past her because, you got a voting guys there. They're voting, right? It's not done by the public. It's done by a committee.
Yeah.
So they're going to be sitting back and going, maybe they've already chosen somebody. And now they're like, this throws everything up in the air. Maybe we got to give him this is one last time to get, his due because he just got that album was number 1. So it's his first number 1 album of his career. He had number 1 album with Sabbath, which was the 13 they did. But as a solo career, this is it. So I would not put it past the conniving person. Okay, look, I lost. I don't care what she does. She seems like a nice person, all that stuff in some ways. But what she did to Bob and Lee, digitally erasing them, I thought that was it. That was enough for me to. I'll never forgive her for that. And that was the lowest of the low that you could possibly do. All because they had the audacity to say, "Can we get the money that we're owed?"
Yeah,
how dare you? What's going on? So we'll take you out. So no, I honestly think February 5th is the Grammys.
Okay.
Now, why? So I mean, that's just in 3 days. So why now? I mean, why not till after the Grammys? This is why I when I thought about it and I heard about it, I was saddened. Obviously, I've loved Ozzy for since I was a little kid.
Yeah.
Having seen him twice in solo and once in Sabbath, with the original member, Bill Ward was playing when I saw him. That was awesome. I should tell you the story.
Your post on YouTube was interesting, man. So go ahead.
It's a bit long, but I try to keep it short. So back in '89, right? So I'd never seen Ozzy. I always wanted to see Ozzy, and all the times that I had a chance to see him, they all fell through. So finally, we got tickets. So myself, and my buddy, and another guy.
Jeff, myself, and Irene. There we go.
Yeah. There was 3 of us, right? Now we lived obviously I'm from Canada, so we lived in a small little town, and Ozzy was playing in Montreal. Yeah. And so as it happened, Montreal's about 6.5 hour drive, so it's a fair distance. And so as it happened, a friend of mine, one of the other guys that was going, he lived in a place called Ottawa, which is the capital of Canada.
Yep.
And so we were going to go there and stay at his parents' place. Okay. And then Ottawa and Montreal are fairly close. They're only about an hour away, an hour and a half away. So the idea was we'd stay there for the night, and then the next day we would go, and we had a bus tour package.
Oh, wow.
So all we had to do was get to where the bus was in Ottawa, and then that's going to drive us to Montreal, right? Great, good deal. So the concert's on a Sunday. We all hop in a car on Saturday night. Okay, prepared for a 6.5 hour drive.
Yep.
You know, and we drove for about an hour, and then something happened, and all the electricity in the car, the lights, everything just went out. It was complete darkness. Here we
Wow.
are in the middle of the highway. We had to get the car just stopped working. We couldn't drive, so I had to
Wow.
push it off to the side, and we had to find a house so we could call. This is before mobile phones.
Yeah.
This is 1989.
Yeah.
So we eventually got a ride back. My buddy's stepfather came out and picked us up, but he had to work in the morning. And so we were like, well, how are we going to get? We've got no way to get there. And if we don't get there, we're going to miss out. So long
Yeah.
story short, we put our heads together. The last train had already left, so there was no taking the train.
Yeah.
We couldn't take a bus. The last bus had left. So what are we going to do? We got no way to get there.
Wow.
How about we take a taxi? So we took a taxi.
Oh my God.
A 6.5 hour long taxi.
God.
Right. So all through the night we drive. Okay. The taxi, it was a flat rate. They said, look, we'll do it. It's a bit unusual. So they charged this crazy number. I don't know what it was, like $300. And in 1989, that was a lot of
That's
money.
a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so we got there. We only had about 3 or 4 hours sleep when we got to my buddy Wayne's parents' place to sleep. Had to wake them up, of course, because we're so late. We couldn't call them, hey, we're going to be late.
Yeah.
No phones, right? So we get there, and then we get, we have a little bit of sleep, and then we end up going to the place where we have to go pick up where the bus is going to be
Yep.
that afternoon. So we get there, and we've got like we had like duffel bags full of booze, thinking that we're just gonna. We had every bottle you could imagine. We were carrying this thing. It was one of those like military ones.
Yeah.
Those, yeah. So we're carrying this around Ottawa, and we're drinking, of course, and we're getting drunker, and then we finally get to where the bus thing is, the bus tour, and we've got our stuff, and we're sitting in the back, and all of a sudden this guy gets on the bus, and he's like the tour organizers, and he's looking at us, and he's like, all right, I'm just telling you guys that if there's any drinking or any smoking or any shenanigans at all, this bus driver has been told to turn this bus around, and you will not be going. And everyone's just like, oh, like total silence. Like you could have heard a pin drop, So here we are with all this booze, right? And so he gets off, and then the bus driver, we start driving, and we're heading out, and we get probably just to the outskirts of Ottawa. And then the bus driver is like, he comes on the radio and goes, just want everybody to know that I can't see or hear anything. Have fun. So all of a sudden, the bus goes fucking crazy, and like the bus is going down the highway, and like somebody's opened the windows, and there's like smoke billowing out. It's just like the joints, the booze. It was just like the party bus from like
Wow.
it was insane. So that was all the way to Montreal. So that's like an hour and a half or so. We get there, and my buddy Wayne is like, he's out of it. Like we're literally carrying him. He's
him and the bag, huh?
Yeah. So
should have put him in the bag.
Oh, I'll tell you. Well, he was in the bag, and that's right. So we get there, and then we can see all these people. Like you can tell, like the metalheads are lined up for Ozzy, right?
Yeah.
And we're like, he's like, I gotta have a piss. I gotta piss. We're like, where are you gonna piss? He's like, I don't know. I'll find a place. So then he goes off, and we just leave him in Montreal. Now, keep in mind, Montreal is a French-speaking city, right? So none of us can speak French to save our life. So, like bonjour, that's about it. And so we're like, half an hour goes by. No Wayne. Where's Wayne?
Oh,
He's gone.
no.
So me and my buddy Lawrence, we have to go search for him because we're like, we got to find him. We're fucked. If we don't find him, we're absolutely fucked. So we go around. We're going, literally walking into restaurant after restaurant because he had just taken off.
Yeah.
And we're going, and we found this one restaurant, and they said, yeah, some guy came in here a while ago. So it was the toilet was upstairs. So we go upstairs, push on the door, and the door won't open. What the fuck? Push. There is Wayne passed out against the back of the fucking door inside this toilet. He had passed out against the door. So we get him anyway. We get him. We go in and we see Ozzy, and it was a great concert because it was Vixen,
yeah.
and then White Lion, and then
Wow.
Ozzy, and
Wow.
so Vixen played, and Wayne, of course, the guy that's fucked
awesome.
up, he's completely fucked. Like he's like this, hanging over the railing. Security guards see him, and they're like, "You're coming with us." So they take him. So here we are in the Montreal in the Forum. This is like this massive stadium, and they're hauling him off, and he's gone. So like an hour goes by, and we're just like, "Oh, this is fucking crazy." But all of a sudden, we see Wayne walking by with a big tray of beer, and he has found us in this concert in the dark.
God.
He found us. So like we're like unbelievable. So apparently he had passed out. He woke up, and he was in this recovery room, and there was all these people in there puking and stuff, laying on cots. And then he's like, "Do I have to stay here?" And they're like, "No." And he's like, "Fuck that, I'm going." So he get up, and somehow he finds his way back. So yeah, it was absolutely
With more
crazy.
beer.
More beer. Yeah, it must have had, I don't know, he had 10 beers in this tray, but it was one. I'll never ever forget the shenanigans and all the stuff that happened on that concert.
Wow.
To this day, I've seen a lot of concerts. Like, I mean, I can't even count how many I've seen.
Yeah.
And that was,
A night for the
sorry.
ages.
Oh, absolutely. You know, and some guy, I remember briefly, because when the concert finished, we had to get back in the bus and then drive. They were going to take us back to Ottawa. And I remember some guy had like a ghetto blaster. Remember those things you used to put on your shoulder?
Yeah.
Some guy had one of them that he had taken into the concert, and he had recorded the whole concert.
Oh, wow.
And so we're listening to it on the way back. It was awesome. Yeah. I don't know how he got it in there, but yeah, look, that's just an amazing concert. Yeah, and Ozzy was pretty cool too. From what like I said, I can handle my booze and my dope a little bit better than he could. Oh yeah. Anyway, enough of that. Sorry to
No, that's cool. It's like
your show. But
Montreal Rock City. Here we go.
Montreal. That's right. It's just like it's a story I'll be telling my grandkids if I ever have any.
Wow.
Yeah. So
that's awesome, man. No, thanks heaps for sharing. I'll get to the comments in a minute. But yeah, is there any other thoughts you had on just these, aside from your theory, if your theory is wrong? Because I just had a quick thought as a counterpoint to it that I'm not sure how early the votes go in. Because even though the Grammys might be on the 5th, the votes might have already been counted.
I agree. I think that's what I was saying. I think that, you know, like because no one knows outside the inner committee. I mean, maybe a select few. And I just think that Sharon would think, hey, why wait? Why not do it now before the Grammys? Maybe it'll help get a sympathy vote for you can get the album.
Okay.
You know, or maybe she was thinking this the whole time. Ozzy's oblivious. He has no idea this is her plan. And she's like, yeah, you gotta just tell him, Ozzy. You gotta tell him. Meanwhile, I don't know. I mean, look, maybe I'm just cynical. But if he ends up winning, he ends up winning it.
And he's there for it.
He's got a good chance. I think he's in with a good chance. I hope he does. I really hope he does.
Oh, I agree with that.
It will be, you know, just to be nominated is amazing in itself. But to win, that would be a nice way to end a career.
Yeah, especially
number one album and win the album. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. You know, I mean, geez.
To finally get that nod would be a nice
finally
bit of respect.
Well, I don't know if he's ever been nominated. He may have been nominated for a song. I think I Don't Want to Change the World may have been nominated.
You know how we'll know? We'll know if they bump that category to TV. Because usually it's not. Yeah. So if they put one on the TV schedule, then you might be onto something.
Well, look, I don't know. It's a theory, and of course, you know, it's sort of off the wall, but I just wouldn't put past Sharon. No, I wouldn't put it past her. She's a shrewd businesswoman. She's done an amazing job for his career, you know. And you could argue that without her, he wouldn't have had a career. He would have drunk himself into oblivion and died early on, you know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, this is true.
And apparently there's an Ozzy movie after with the success from The Dirt.
Oh, okay.
That's been in the works for a while. So I really want to see that.
Cool. The guy who played Ozzy in the Dirt would be a good role for that.
Yeah,
He did a good job.
Probably.
he did a very good job. He did a really good job.
Yeah.
For that era of Ozzy, I don't know how he would do.
Sabbath and
earlier.
everything.
That's right, but who knows?
Oh, fuck, you can get 2 different actors to play, and they had 7 people playing Bob Dylan.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Didn't they have Kate
including the woman.
Kate Blanchett played him, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Kate Blanchett and was it Heath Ledger as well? Yeah.
Wow. There you go. Alrighty. Well, Dave, on the touring retirement of Ozzy, any thoughts you'd like to share with that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it comes as a surprise to anyone, but it's just because it's out there now. It's just like, okay, now we gotta just accept it, because there was always that little bit of hope that people had that this long rescheduled Priest and Ozzy tour was going to happen. It might not have come here, but there's always that hope that we can see Ozzy again. And I'm lucky I got to see him with Black Sabbath back in 2014, I think it was. But
13.
when you grow up listening to somebody, as long as I've liked heavy metal, I've liked Ozzy Osbourne. It's gone hand in hand. So, but at this point, I think it's his quality of life and how healthy and happy he is, and whatever time he has left, and what he can do. But on the strength of his last album, the chances of if he actually could tour and do some shows off that, it wouldn't have been in Australia. So I was pretty much accepting that I wasn't going to see Ozzy perform live. But if he can still record, I mean, as he says in his statement, his singing voice is still good. The last album, he sounded fucking brilliant. So if he wants to record even just a couple of songs, be happy for that. But it'd be hard for someone who's been touring for well over 50 years. It's your lifestyle. It's like Ric Flair, who can't get out of the fucking wrestling ring, giving up what you love to do, giving up what makes you, giving up that pop and that accolade from your audience. It must be the hardest thing in the world, because once you give up your career to define who you are, that's it. What's left for you? I mean, he's got his family, he's got grandkids, great grandkids. That's all cool, but he's Ozzy Osbourne, the Prince of fucking Darkness. When you can't do what you love to do, there's only one thing really left.
Yeah,
it's not a nice thing.
No,
we're all mortal. We don't want to think about that, but
it's the truth, though.
It is the truth.
Yeah. But if we can get a few more songs from him, if it's at the standard that his last album was, if he works with that same crew, that'd be cool. If he wants to do, I doubt it'd happen, but if they can get one more Black Sabbath with the original lineup, you can get one more song out of that. That would be cool.
Yeah.
But right now, incredible career. The odds were against him from the start. If you read his biography, he would either be a musician or he'd be in jail or dead.
Yeah.
And Ozzy changed the world of music, and I will be eternally grateful, because I've been a long time Ozzy fan. So, as I said, as long as he's reasonably healthy and can spend his last years, hopefully, long time with his family, and that's cool.
Well, he was a terrible criminal as well. Like, he would have been a criminal. He apparently he bought some. He spent some money to buy some gloves.
They're
fingers out. So his fingerprints were all over the place. you
gotta wear gloves. You gotta wear gloves when you break into people's houses.
You can't write this. It's just insane. No.
Yeah. It's just that fucking Aussie charm. You had it all through the Osbournes. You have it all through his biography. And there's that Ask Ozzy. He had a column in some newspaper over in New York where people could write in and ask him for advice, and they got published as a book. I got it somewhere. And people are asking for like marriage advice and career advice. He's like, I'm fucking Aussie, man. I can tell you, I don't take any of this seriously. But just an amazing, it's funny read.
Yeah. There's a book out there. I think it's called either the 9 Lives of Ozzy Osbourne or the Many Lives of Ozzy Osbourne. And it was written by these surgeons or something. They all got together like, how the fuck is Ozzy still alive? How is it possible? So that's I haven't read it, but I'm sure it would be interesting.
Yeah. I'm gonna look for that book. I think Julia stole it, because Julia gave it a good read as well. Like, it's not with my normal biographies.
Sorry, I'm coming back in, just dealing with dogs that are being out of whack tonight. Caesar was fucking chewing on something that looked like a carcass. I'm like, what the fuck has he got? And then Nala's like just not willing to settle down tonight. So I was like, just getting them both in here to just be calm for a while. It'd be nice. I haven't got a heap to add. I just think that in terms of, a retirement from live touring, I think that it's for the best at this point in time, to be honest. I don't think there's much. He's got nothing to prove to anyone. He's doesn't own anything, anyone anything at all. He's done, his legacy is well and truly secured. The cap on it all would be winning a Grammy with his first #1 album. That'd be a great way to sort of, cap it all off. But I think that, I would rather at this point in time, if he says his singing voice is still good, then I'd rather he focus on just writing and creating some more good albums. The last two have been pretty good as far as I'm concerned. So
yeah, it was.
I'd be happy to get a lot more of that. If that means if he's sacrificing touring and getting more albums, well, and then fuck, that's still a good outcome. But that's only as long as he actually wants to as well. I think, at this point in time, Nothing Sacred made a good comment on our Facebook post about this one, actually, just saying, just be thankful he's still around. Like, with everything going on, just be thankful for that. And so, for me, that's my point of view, is that I'm just thankful he's still around. He should just do whatever he wants to do and what's in his best interests to do, So I just think that, he's earned the right to do whatever the fuck he wants, and he had a long time ago. So I think that, just it is what it is now. Just do what you can with what you got. I'm sure he'll still do some live shows, but the end of touring is, not a huge surprise.
Live stream, he'll do some stuff from his home or something.
Once they get that worked out for him. Yeah, they did try that metaverse thing as well. So, there'll be bits and pieces they'll work into trying to get some things done. But yeah, I think it's just one of those things where it was inevitable, and it's probably, high time, if that makes sense. But at the same time, if we get good albums, then, it's not the end of the world. We can just sort of see what happens. And if they put the effort into releasing good albums and going back through the catalog like they've done with Dio, for example, and go through, find some live shows and start, cataloging and putting those together as DVDs and that, there is ways to, make this a high as opposed to a low, I think, if they just shift focus a bit. So there's ways to do this. Through comments here for a second, got a few. Lee said, Riot City also announced a tour of Oz. Their Sophomore is my favorite album in 2022. Looking forward to official tour dates. All right, cool. So Riot City, I did see that post. Actually, they're on the way out. Darren agreed with Jeff, saying, "Holy crap, Jeff is a ghost." So there we go.
I know.
David says, "G'day guys, Happy New Year. God bless Ozzy. Good to see you. Happy New Year back to you as well." Conrad said your theory could be plausible there, Jeff, which is interesting. And then Lee says Sharon is the Antichrist. So here we go. Jolie, good to see you. They've gone on dinner break. Hi, watching what I can. Awesome to see you again. Thanks for jumping in. Vinny says patient number 9 has been nominated in 2 categories, I think, which is nice. All right, cool. Man Family says the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nominees come out today, and they have also released a statement on what makes rock and roll. Yes, I did see that. That was probably going to be the topic tonight until Ozzy's announcement last night. So we'll get to that probably next week, but I do have some thoughts on the whole Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We do it every year. We'll do it next week. Okay, Lee's going apparently 4 nominations, so apparently it's getting higher and higher. Conrad says, I remember being in London holding off on buying tickets for this tour when it was scheduled for 2017, as I thought this might get postponed, cancelled back then, got pushed back 3 times to 2018, 19, 23. It is what it is, unfortunately, when you're dealing with the world as it was for the last few years, and then you can, trying to get someone's health back in order.
That's right. He was scheduled for download as well. I mean, that was a big draw. I was hoping there, obviously, to see him again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All righty. Let's bring TC in if he's still with us there. It looks like he might have nodded off at the desk. We'll see how we go with this.
Wake up.
How's it going?
Yeah, good. How are you, mate?
Hey.
Good.
It was funny because before I jumped you in, the screen had sort of settled on you like this. So
yeah, I was just checking the cricket scores, just relaxing.
How's it all going?
Yeah, it's all right. Going well. Should be good.
Good.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've done the rounds. How are you going, TC? Happy New Year to you and all that sort of stuff as well. So it's your first time on. Yeah.
Yeah, going well. Yeah, it's been a crazy couple of months. Working flat out up to Christmas so I could have a couple of weeks off, and then working flat out again so I could have another week off.
Yeah.
And now I've got to work flat out again and try and catch up for all the money I spent over Christmas. So that was an end.
Yeah, it's the cycle of life, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Well, it's good to see you. Good to have you on. I'm going to get to something I wanted to get you in here for this before we get to the actual thing here. Here we go. Lee says we need the Top Cat theme for TC's entry. And Connor before that said, I'm sure an Aussie finally does check out, Sharon will still milk him using a hologram to tour. We'll see what happens with that. Vinny says, probably about time they unleash Robo Aussie in old Detroit. That's not a bad call.
Sharon!
Well, that your move Craig, became replaced with Sharon. Anyway,
you're coming with me.
This could be bad. All right, let's move on. So we didn't do it. I didn't plan a game for tonight, so I'm going to do a snap poll, and this snap poll involves the audience watching tonight and the ones watching live only. So if you're here, give us a comment. Excuse me. Basically, we're going to do things differently this year with content streams and that kind of stuff. So we have streaming. We also have this thing called deep cuts, which last year became sort of like the supplementary program to this one. But now we're going to actually make it into something that actually goes deep diving into a band's discography or some sort of genre of music. So we tend to build this around debut albums that are celebrating a massive anniversary this year. And I haven't even finished my list, not even close of my list of anniversary albums this year. I've got a massive list in the PDF. Like the crew have got it. The Patreon supporters have got it. It's fucking insane how big it is already. I'm not even halfway through it yet. But just from that, I'm going to read out. I think I've picked just over 10 bands that I think, would be good to cover. Then I want everyone here to pick one of those bands, one of us four, and then we'll get the audience to vote on one of the four that we choose, if that makes sense. Hopefully I'm making any sense at all with that one. So I'm going to read a list. You guys here tonight pick a band, and then we'll get the audience to vote on one of those four that we get through choosing tonight. So so which band basically do you want us to go and do a full deep dive discography session or three on? So here we go. We've got Aerosmith, Cold Chisel, Deep Purple, Dio solo stuff, Europe, Queen, Queensryche, Quite Right, Rose Tattoo, Slayer, or Whitesnake. That's a big list so far, and there's a whole lot more than that I didn't even touch on. So again, just for those wanting to pay attention, the big list for us four to choose from is Aerosmith, Cold Chisel, Deep Purple, Dio, Europe, Queen, Queensryche, Quite Right, Rose Tattoo, Slayer, and Whitesnake. And we'll start with TC. Which band do you want to go with first?
Well, that's tough, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to go with this band only because I think more people need to check out the rest of their discography. Everyone knows the Final Countdown, but they've got a lot of good stuff. So I'm going to go with Europe.
Nice. Good call, man. All right. From there, we'll go to the guest of the evening. Jeff, what band do you want to take from that list?
That's a list and a half. Wow.
Yeah.
I had to scribble down a couple because, like, as you were saying them, I'm like, because there's no way I'm going to remember all these. There's so many great bands. Four pop out, but I can only pick one.
Yeah, only pick one, mate. I'm gonna make it hard.
Oh wow. Well, I'm gonna go just because this is a bit of self-indulgence. I'm just gonna go with Quiet Riot.
Nice.
I love Randy, so there we go.
Cool. That's right. Self-indulgent is perfectly fine by me. All right, Dave. What about you?
Yeah, I gotta go with Aerosmith. If Pump had been Use Your Illusion, Aerosmith would have been my Guns N' Roses.
Wow.
If not that fucking, what's the next one after Pump? Get a Grip.
Yeah.
If Get a Grip had been Use Your Illusion, then Aerosmith would have been my Guns N' Roses. Because Pump is fucking amazing, and I love their 70s content. They're an amazing band, so that'd be fun to dive in. They've been a long time favorite.
Good band.
Yeah, it's hard. It's a hard list to choose from. I'm actually getting a few comments before we get to before we cut it down to our four. Vinny says probably about time they unleash Robert Ozzy in Detroit. Darren says Dio. Nicole says Cold Chisel. Keep it Aussie. There's good reasons for that as well. You could even say the same thing for Rose Tattoo, to be honest. Lee says, thank fuck Conrad's on the panel. Indecision would kill me. It's hard. But Philo on Twitch is saying Quiet Riot because I love Double R's playing too. So there we go. All right. For my choice, though, I'm going to go self-indulgent as well. And I know that this might, we're not playing the strictly Australian card, but we'll get to the Australian ones, I promise. But for now, I'm just going to play self-indulgent and go with Queen. Huge fan of that band, have been for forever. They're one of the first bands I got into, to be honest. So I want to see that one. We've sort of missed them here and there. It's the funny thing is that Europe we have done something of a special on before, part of a battle, a three-way battle, years and years and years ago.
I remember that.
Yeah, but and on this list, that's the only band we've actually done a dedicated special of any sort on. So Aerosmith never done, Deep Purple never done, Dio never done. Oh, sorry, we did Dio versus Ozzy. That was an interesting one. So we did that one. But Europe, Queen, so Europe had that battle on, but Queen never done, Queensryche never done, Quite Right never done, Rose Tattoo never done, Slayer. We did a battle with them and Anthrax years ago, and Whitesnake we've never really done either. So there's a few that we've never really crossed off before. But just what do we got here? So Sally's gone Chisel. Arlo's gone Queen, gets my vote. Conrad says Dio, Queen, and Queensryche. Vinny says Queen for me also. All right, so get in the comments one of these four people. So it's Aerosmith, Europe, Queen, or Quite Right. Okay, those are the four bands. Let's get some comments going. Aerosmith, Europe, Queen, or Quite Right. That's what we want to try and see. Which one of those four do you want us to start with for our deep cuts sessions in 2023? More on that to come. But yeah, get your votes in on that one as well. Okay, here we go. Aerosmith says, Lee says Aerosmith, one for Dave. Villo says there's a cool movie on Quite Right featuring Frankie B. Nice. Cool. I'll have to go and check that out. Darren says, I'm with Dave, Aerosmith. Sally says Queen. And Conrad says Queen as well. So we're getting a few there. I'm going to go through all these ones and tally them up later on, and then I'll work it all out as we go through. Scott Robertson
no comment.
Scott says Aerosmith. Nicole says Queen. So we got heaps coming through now. So keep them coming. Let us know out of those four. So again, Aerosmith, Europe, Queen, and Quite Right are the four choices. And I'll go through and count it all up later on after we get done here. And Phil sent a link through as well. So cheers for sending that through. IMDb title. I can't really do much more about it, but there's an IMDb link there for those who want to check it out via the Twitch, but do the screenshot thing and have a look at it as well. Chris has gone Queen, and Phil is encouraging us to check out the doco. So we'll do, or doco or movie, sorry. Cool. Alrighty. Now let's get into the fun part of the evening while we wait for the people to get their votes in on that one. And this is our first King of the Riff for 2023. Jeff last year put forward the idea to do a Canadian band focus special, do one for TV. We're going to do this battle series as well. So there's a whole lot of bands. I polled the audience a little while ago, came with a top 10. This is the number 8 seed versus the number 9 seed for this battle this week. And this is Harem Scarem Mood Swings versus Sword with Metalized. That's the battle for this week. That's basically what it is. We've got a whole lot of we've got 8 more Canadian bands and albums to get through as well as we go through the weeks. And we'll start knocking them out in a tournament one by one. But this is like the wild card round, the first of them. And so it's Harem Scarem Mood Swings, Sword, Metalized, those 12 ones going head to head. So while you're voting on your 4 bands you want us to do a special on, get in the comments and let us know which of these 2 albums you think deserves to win and go through to the next round, because it's lose and you go home. In the comments, as well as those in the description and the description box, there's links to songs from both these bands. So if you want to check out something and have a quick listen. What do we got here? As Rowan says, Queensryche to be smart ass there. So well done. Well done. Darren says Europe, John Norum is brilliant. Yeah. Rowan says Harem Scarem Mood Swings is the winner for his point of view. All right, well, that's one already. All righty. Let's do the rounds here. Let's start with Dave for this one. So which one got your vote out of these 2 albums and why?
Alrighty. Good old Canada. Looking forward to checking out a lot of bands from Canada.
Thanks, Dave. Thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome, man. But yeah, I haven't heard of either of these bands before, and I am so glad I got to listen to both of these albums because they're fucking amazing. Both are really good, and it really depends on what style of music you prefer as to which one should go through.
Yeah.
I mean, you got metal, straight up metal with Sword, or Harem Scarem, which Wikipedia classes them as glam metal / AOR. And I know AOR is basically glam metal without the cocaine and the strippers, but I'd call them more melodic hard rock. So melodic hard rock versus heavy metal.
Yeah.
But the Sword album, it's typical 80s metal, lots of killer guitar riffs. There's some fucking beautiful changes in tempos and style and sections. Interesting songs. The vocals are great. Metal anthems, big drums, instrumental sections are well done. This band opened for Metallica on the Master of Puppets tour. Why? What happened? Why aren't they more well known? Is it because they're Canadian? What the fuck? But I'm glad that we're doing this process. Yeah. And then you get Harem Scarem with Mood Swings. This is a fantastic album. there's no doubt in the musicianship of this band. They can certainly play and write interesting songs in a few different styles. And this was probably what got me, because it kicks off with some heavier songs, and then you get some funkier stuff, and then there's songs with backing vocal harmonies, and there's like finger clicks there, and it's a very diverse listen. And there's a lot more substance to these lyrics and a lot of the hair metal that was just happening around that time. And there's like a short instrumental guitar piece called Mandy for the guitar nerds. So I had to go with Harem Scarem. I thought it was a more diverse and well-rounded album. But it was really hard to pick between both of these albums, because unlike what we did with the Battle of the 50-Year-Olds, I had no previous bias of growing up with these albums. These are all very new to me. So this is a very, very well matched, and it was very difficult to pick. I'm also quite amazed. I'm going with Harem Scarem, but that album came out in 1993. And I've thought for a very long time that the 80s pretty much started in 1978 with Van Halen 1 and ended in 1992 with Whilst the Crimson Idol. I didn't know people were still making albums like this in 1993. And I'm pleasantly surprised, because the world had gone fucking grunge, which leads me to a question I had for Jeff. Was grunge popular in Canada?
Oh, massive. Absolutely. Where wasn't it fucking popular?
Yeah, it was huge.
That's about it.
I can't picture depressed Canadians.
No,
it doesn't fit the parents in Philippines. Like, I'm not your buddy, guy. Fuck you! I'm gonna kill myself.
Yeah, no, man, it was like some of it was great, but most,
No, grunge was shit. But I'm just amazed that an album like what Harem Scarem released in 1993 actually got released.
It bucked the trend for sure.
Yeah. They weren't trying to be something they weren't. They were a pretty new band at that point.
That's right. Album number 2.
Yeah. So came out glad to discover them. This is cool. Good band. Good album.
So Harem Scarem was your winner there, Dave?
Yep.
Nice. Cool. Well, that kicks us off. We'll get to Jeff in a second. CC, you expressly wanted to jump in for this one this week. So which album are you going with and why?
The reason I wanted to jump in is probably the opposite to Dave. I'm a massive fan of both these albums, have been for a long time. I rate them both as really underrated in their sort of genres, I guess, in the metal world. The Sword album, if you like, Saint and Leatherwolf and these kind of bands, you're going to be all over this album. It absolutely slays from start to finish. It's a massively underrated album. It should be known by more people. They did do a second album, which wasn't as good, and that was it. But they actually released a new album just late last year with most of the same lineup. Rick Hughes is still there. I haven't given it a proper listen yet, so I need to check it out. But I was very surprised to see him back on the scene after all that time. So, and then you got Mood Swings. Wow. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, if you're talking about melodic rock, hard rock albums, this is a top tier album. It's right up there. It should be spoken of more. It's just first class from start to finish. The sound on that album is phenomenal. The production's amazing. Harry Hess, fantastic singer. Like, everything about this album is just brilliant from start to finish. Like, it's just, if you like anything melodic rock, from old stuff to bands like Heat and that, now you'll get something out of this album. It's got everything you like in it. Those things absolutely are amazing. So just because I think Harem Scarem is so good in its sort of pocket of music, I've gone with that one. But I was glad to see Sword just get a bit of recognition and a bit of a mention, because I think people should check that album out. It's really good.
Cool. Yeah. Nice. Well, just for the record, this is all polled on audience. We didn't choose any of these albums. This is the top 10 that the audience come up with, and we're using that for all this. If there was a tie, the only thing I used to break a tie was which band had more monthly listeners on Spotify. That was the only way I broke a tie if there was one. So that's the only thing. There's no actual direct input from us. This is all audience input from the nominations and the voting process kind of thing, but then also just us going through and seeing which ones, just generally speaking, being more listened to, and these are the bands that cut through in the end. Alrighty, Jeff, over to you.
All right. Well, Dave had messaged me early in the week, and he said, "Hey, have you heard this band? Do you know anything about them?" And I saw a Sword. I'm like, yeah, fuck, I haven't listened to them in ages. They're a fucking great band, right? So immediately, I was just like, they're fucking absolute, like, Canadian royalty as far as, hard rock, heavy metal goes. And so then, and then I saw that you were doing this Harem Scarem versus Sword, and I thought, that's a really kind of a strange combination. Like, contrasting bands. And I had not listened to Harem Scarem in years. Honestly, I loved them. I've been to a Harem Scarem concert.
Cool.
They opened up for a band, or maybe the other band opened for them. I can't remember. The band was called Brighton Rock and Harem Scarem. In my hometown, a place called the Doctor's Hotel, which is a legendary place. And it was great because you had downstairs, you had bands, and upstairs you had strippers. It was just like fucking heaven. It was awesome. And so I loved it. And I went there to see Harem Scarem because I had seen Brighton Rock before, and I was pleasantly surprised. And obviously I knew their music. I would say their first album didn't wow me. I think the first album was a lot of ballady sort of stuff and sort of much more pop oriented. And then when Mood Swings came out just 2 years later, I mean, it just blew the doors off. It was just like an album that you drive around in your car with the top down cranked. It was awesome. So my initial response when Dave had said that was like, oh yeah, fuck, Sword's going to win. This is awesome. There's no question Sword is the better band. Then I went back and re-listened to them again because I literally had not listened to them in years. And I had to change my vote. I had to change my vote. And I was Harem Scarem. That album, it just reminded me of how fucking good it is and how great it is. The production is great. The number of songs is great. It's just the perfect number of songs. There's no filler on the album at all. Every song on it is great. And it rocks really, really, really hard. So, Harem Scarem gets it. Not because I saw them, but, and that helps. I suppose that helps. But, and I'm glad that, what TC said about Sword, getting the nod. Because, they deserve it. They're a great band that very few people really even know about. Unless you're into hard rock and metal. Look at that. Awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah.
Jeez, that would be hard to find these days. Jeez,
I've got the follow-up as well. Yeah.
Wow. That's impressive.
Yeah, you were right. The 88 follow-up wasn't as good. It was good, but not as good, for sure.
No.
Yeah. And I haven't heard the new one either. I'm looking forward to giving that a shot. Well, I think it's just called 3 or something.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It's like 3 albums in 40 years. That's
crazy.
That's kind of crazy. Yeah.
And people complain about how long it took to make Chinese democracy. What the fuck?
Yeah. Well, we all know what happened with that album. But look, my vote's for Harem Scarem. I had to change it because it's just too good.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone can listen to that album and go, that's shit. Fuck off. So
it's funny how this has worked out because they are two very contrasting albums, and I have listened to Harem Scarem over the years, but I haven't checked out Sword before. And they're not to be confused with other band The Sword either. Just so you know, there's a different band. This is an older band, but one was from 93, the other one's from like 86. So Sword was 86, Harem Scarem's 93. They're both very different. It depends. It does really depend what you're looking for. Now, because I hadn't listened to these albums, I was like, okay, cool. I'll give them a good few spins. I'll listen to each one like side by side about 3 times and like once a day kind of thing for a few days there, just to sort of Monday, Tuesday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday kind of thing. Or no, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday it was, sorry. Once a day, just listen to those 2 albums back to back, just sort of get myself familiar with them. And then I sat down last night and listened to them again, just sort of, okay, with headphones, no distractions, just okay, off we go. And it was funny because my initial instinct was to go with Harem Scarem by a long way. The production is so glossy, it's not funny. The high spots on that album are fucking insane. Like they are, when you get to the peak songs on that album, it's like, oh my fucking God, wow. Especially the first 3 tracks, like the first 3 tracks, you got Saviors Never Cry, No Justice, which is the link we gave before, and then you got Stranger Love, which is the first kind of ballad in there. Those 3 tracks as an album opener are just like, oh my God, this is fucking on fire. Mm-hmm. What I found though on repeat listens in longevity terms was though that after that, while there's you got the instrumental track Mandy and the follow up to that Empty Promise, that's a good heavier song too. Yeah. Either side of that is it gets a bit ballad heavy for mine. When you've got the a cappella track, just like I planned, that was a bridge sort of too far for me kind of thing. It's like, okay, there's a few too many. It was well done. This is the thing. The thing about this album, right? If you put any of these songs and it comes up on shuffle, you're going to fucking love it. Each song is individually brilliant. It's to do with my critique of the album is to do with the album flow, the track order, the way they just sort of it became a block of a ballad, then a couple of songs, and a block of ballads, and you close on the strong track Had Enough, which is a great album closer. So for me, it's a really good album. And like I said, any song on shuffle pops up, you're going to go, fuck yeah, and crank it. It's one of those, the collection of songs is absolutely brilliant. It's just when you listen to it a few times in a row, it's like, oh, hang on. There's a bit of a flat spot to that in the vibe of it, which contrasts really strongly with Sword. The Metalized album is just, Tim mentioned Armored Saint. I'm glad I'm not the only one that picked up on that, because I was like, straight away, Armored Saint. Like, these guys and Armored Saint within a fucking great 1-2 punch to see live. I just think there's a lot, but it's riffy. It's still melodic, which is great. It's a bit more rough around the edges. It's a debut album from '86, which, okay, cool. But it had that sort of rawness added to the charm for me in a lot of ways. Like, it just feels like a good metal album. It's what you want from the era. Follow the Wheel is another great opening track, and they follow it up with Children of Heaven really well on that one. Stoned again has this almost unskinny bop feel about it, which is kind of cool. The whole thing is just vintage 80s metal, which is, I don't know, it's really cool. This album, though, the reason why it got my attention was because it was just shorter, sharper, punchier overall from top to bottom. And while it's not the most original thing out there, it's really well done, especially for a debut from, not to be disrespectful, from a smaller Canadian band in '86 when all this other stuff was going on in the world. They did a really good job to punch out that album. It was fucking great. It's one that actually, where Harem Scarem wowed me at the start, that diminished over time. Sword actually impressed me more as I spent more time with it. So I'm going to be contrarian to a lot of you three, so fuck yous. I'm going to pick Sword. So one of us is going to give that band their flowers. But that shows you, but the albums are both incredibly strong. I wasn't overly familiar with them, but it does come down to taste, what you want out of an album, I guess. But they both had great stuff. Like I said, the high spots on Mood Swings are probably higher than what you got on Sword, but just the consistency across the album, the way it sort of moved. Metalized sort of gave me the jolt that I wanted out of a listen. But either way, for both these bands, you can't go wrong, and it makes me want to explore their catalogs a lot more. I know that Harem's going to have a lot of albums, so I'd like to go and check a lot more of their stuff out. But I've checked out some of the stuff over the years. But Sword, just having a couple more things to go and check out, I would like to go and check out more and see what they did with those. But and that's a winner overall for me. If you find two albums and go, okay, cool, I need to go and check out more of their stuff. Because this is, again, it's not a contest of what's shit and what's good. It's a contest of just which one grabs your attention more out of two good albums. And these are both fantastic ones. So, yeah, for me, the winner was Sword, but obviously the deciding factor was the other three votes. So Harem Scarem will go through to the next round. And next week, here's one for you. Audience vote picked the 7 and 10 seeds to be Kick Axe Vices versus Lee Aaron Metal Queen.
Justin Evans.
I've seen Lee Aaron's. Another one. Yeah.
So that's what's coming up next week for the next round of this battle special. Let's quickly see what the audience have to say leading up to this one, though. So Rowan said, cool. Rowan said Harem Scarem Mood Swings. Conrad said Sword. Darren said Sword. Chris said Sword. Harem Scarem for Rowan says no justice on this album is one of the all-time great underrated riffs. That's true. Phil just jumped in on Twitch saying also moving on Anvil. I cried laughing. Yeah, there's an interesting movie on Anvil a few years ago. Movie. Yeah. Nicole says Sword. Conrad says for the viewers, Canadian band Sword, not to be confused with the stoner rock band The Sword. Yeah, that's what I said before. Darren says Harem Scarem have 17 albums. Yes, there's a lot. Mikey says Harem Scarem. Lee says Sword by a Blade. Harem Scarem is top-notch melodic rock. So there we go. Got a few there. Vinny says, going back to an earlier comment regarding grunge moving into pole position around 93, do you think Marilyn Manson cut through that dominance and beginning to turn the tide with Antichrist Superstar? It really caught the world's attention, peaking very high in both the US and Canada.
Yeah.
I would say that was the start of it. Yeah, Antichrist was the one that took the pissed off youth or disaffected youth and amped it up when that came out.
White Zombie too.
Yeah, Zombie.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, you had once the Family Values tour kicked off, that's when it really started to get going. So once you had Korn were another one too at the same time. Korn Follow the Leader when that came out was another turning point. You could argue that 9 Inch Nails were another big one too. When the Downward Spiral came out, that was huge. Closer is an iconic song of the era. Rammstein around the same time dropped Sehnsucht, which had Du Hast on it, which changed the game. And that's when you had System of a Down coming through, Incubus coming through as well. So that whole era, Antichrist Superstar was the one that probably got the most attention.
Yeah.
That and Follow the Leader from Korn, those two albums. But around that, probably also things like different vibe, but still a change away from grunge. Things like Rage Against the Machine at the same time. There was a big change in things happening and a little more commentary going on. So yeah, that was an interesting one. Vinny says Mechanical Animals really smashed the charts soon afterward. Mechanical Animals, it's grown on me over the years, but I was disappointed at the time because I wanted Antichrist Volume 2 and I got Mechanical Animals, which Antichrist it wasn't. Good album, just not what you were expecting at the time. But that's my thoughts on that one. You guys agree with that, or?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think you're right. There's so many great bands that came out. I would say after grunge. Grunge is a huge movement, but it was a flash in the pan. It didn't last, right? Like it started in the early '90s, and then by the late '90s, it was pretty much gone.
And there's never been a revival.
No, there were some good bands that come out of it. There were some bands that got lumped as grunge that weren't really grunge, like Soundgarden. They weren't really grunge, but they got lumped into that. Yeah. Alice in Chains, exactly. I got a question regarding Sword for you guys because I was waiting for you to come back, Dave.
Yep.
The singer, his name's Rick Hughes, right? The singer for Sword.
Yep.
Now, when you hear this guy sing, he reminds you of somebody, and I don't know who the fuck it is. Initially, I was thinking there's a little bit of tonal qualities of almost like Ripper Owens. You can hear a little bit of Ripper in there, but clearly he's not as good a singer as Ripper. But who the fuck does he remind? I can't work it out.
You want to take this one? I know who he's thinking of. You and I are on the same page. Tim?
Oh yeah, I'm not sure who he reminds me of, but I kind of know where he's getting at because when you listen to that album, he's a metal singer, but he could do thrash. He could sort of go a bit either side with his vocal tones. I reckon in that album, and he shifts around a little bit on that, and you can hear if he really wants to get the grit in his voice, he can. Then he goes back to the sort of the higher metal voice. But I can't pinpoint who he actually sounds like. But yeah, he's a great singer.
He does.
I'm going to say John Bush.
Well, yeah, a bit of that.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
John Bush.
Yeah, you could be there. Yeah.
I reminded me of a few different songs. One of them was like Demon Bell from Dangerous Toys for some reason. It reminded me of the vocals in that. But yeah, but there's when I was listening to it, it's just like it's similar to this song and that song, but it wasn't quite there. It's just one of those good voices that suit the music they were playing.
Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned Dangerous Toys because Jason McMaster from Dangerous Toys, he did the Dangerous Toys, the hair metal stuff, but he's done full-on thrash albums as well. He's done some heavy stuff as well. He can do a bit of everything. Live? I think so. Yeah. As far as I know.
Something I just remember. I don't know. I read something about. That's gonna bother me. Give me a minute.
I'm pretty sure he's still going.
They're still doing
shows in America.
Yeah, at the top of the program, I said I'm living in 1989 again, so I've been going down the rabbit hole on YouTube and Wikipedia and Spotify, and went up and read up about Dangerous Toys. They still perform sporadically. Different lineup, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, Arlo chucked in a late vote for Sword there, and Lee says, of course, glad you didn't mention Dave's favourite band, Limp Bizkit. I'm sure that if Brendan or original Tim here, they would have gotten a run, but yeah, not for us. Thanks. Quickly here, Vinny's gone, hey lads, butterfly effect watching the stream with a bit of a smiley face there, a wink there. Say good day to these legends. Hello to the butterfly effect. I'm hopefully you're enjoying the show. We'll be getting onto your album very shortly because that's kind of a good segue here. So is there anything else that TC or Jeff wanted to add there before we start getting into these deep dive reviews?
Nah. I was spewing these two albums came up against each other because I would like to see Sword go a bit further as well.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. You know, it's kind of bittersweet, but look, to be nominated is just as good as winning, really.
Well, it made the audience choice top 10 of any band that could be nominated for, you know, an album out of Canada. So that's a pretty good start.
It sure is.
That, you know, they might be the first one knocked out, but they were the number 9 seed or something in the end. So they did pretty bloody well, to be honest, and I was pleasantly surprised. So it was good.
Sword lads would be proud, I'm sure.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, I don't think you guys are joining us for the review, so I guess we'll bid you guys a good evening. But yeah, thank you both for jumping in. Hopefully you're all keeping well. Yeah. And
good to see you, bro. Cheers, guys, and happy New Year.
Really good to see you both. We'll get you guys back in very, very soon. Jeff, we'll have to get you back next week to continue this run of Canadian albums. And TC, you know what they are. So if you want to jump in, by all means, feel free as well. You know what the deal is. So
I love the Kick Axe album. Never listened to Lee Aaron, so I might have to check it out so I can compare the two.
All right.
Get the album Metal Queen, man. It'll blow you away.
All right.
I'm very familiar with Kick Axe, so I know that album quite well. So
I'm looking forward to what next week brings, but that's the round for next week coming up. But for now, we'll bid Tim and Jeff farewell. Thank you both for jumping in, and we'll see you all again very, very soon.
Adios, amigos.
There you guys.
Cool.
Drink up, rock on.
Likewise. All righty. So, what do we got here? So, Vinny says, fuck, I'm excited. My water is at the break and I'll go into labor during your stream. And is saying she as well. All righty, Dave. Let's do this one. We had the segue. Let's do it. Let's get to the butterfly effect. In the comments, in the description box, there is a link to the video for the track Visiting Hours. So go and check it out while we waffle on about this album here. But this is our Aussie release of the week, the Butterfly Effect, with 10 tracks, 41 minutes, the 4th studio album the Brisbane band released September 2022 independently, produced by the band themselves. 2 singles have been released in Nil by Mouth and Visiting Hours. It's the band's first new album since their reunion in 2017, as well as their first album since 2008's Final Conversation with Kings. We didn't get around to this one last year, but it did make the Audience Choice Top 10 for the year, which was a really impressive nod to these guys. So we figured deserves to be our first Aussie review for 2023, even though it's, a bit late, but we wanted to get to it now while we could. And let's start with you, Dave. What did you think of this one? I know you like it, so,
Yeah. Oh, this is a great album. I didn't hear it when it first came out, but there was a lot of recommendations on streams towards the end of last year that go check it out. And I did one Friday morning. Friday morning is quiet at work and it's new music day. So, but fuck, the first listen is just like, damn, this is really good. It's such a good listen from start to finish. And just listening to it again for this review, just like the title intro track, just 1V or 4.
Yeah.
It just opens up very mellow. It's laid back and relaxing. And it has a bit of a Western feel for it. Okay, and I'm kind of waiting for Clint Eastwood to ride in the town and raise hell. Because the mood is going to change. It's just like that calm before the storm. And if you love old Clint Eastwood Westerns, it's just like, fuck. Just, it's coming. And when it does come, it's not jarring. It's just subtly built in. And just the composition.
The way they used strings to build up to that as well was cool. That was a nice touch,
And it's just like, okay, I'm in heavy territory now. I don't know when it shifted, but you took me on that journey, and I'm here, and I love it. Now, when I say heavy, it's not thrashy or anything like that. It's heavy in tone, and it's heavy in theme. Very heavy in themes. There's some very, very weighty lyrics throughout this. Weight of Tides. It's moderately paced, and the lyrics have a lot of weight. It's almost claustrophobic to listen to. Interesting use of word I put there, but there's nothing else I could use to describe how the song is making me feel. It's kind of I'm trapped, but I don't want to turn this off. This is good. It's a great.
They use space in that song so well. They use space in that track really well.
Space is a very, very important part of the composition of this. But it's a great job that the band could create this mood. I mean, because it fits the topic of the songs. And there's a recurring lyric throughout the song, and it also closes with a similar line. There's a few different variations, but I'm in over my head. I just needed a friend this time until the bitter end, and it kind of fades out. It's just one of those, it's one of those thinkers. It's like, fuck. And then Nil by Mouth has a very heavy riff, against a lot of groove in the drums. There's a lot of juxtaposition between what one instrument is doing and what another is doing, so you get that overall move between the different instruments. The lyrics in
one of
this
the
are very
heaviest songs on the album too, which is cool.
Yeah, I loved it. The lyrics are very well written. It's a good observation of the obsession people have with wanting to grow their numbers of social media followers, and that need to validate what they're doing with views and likes. And now I'd like to take a moment for people to subscribe to our YouTube channel and please like what we're doing. Yeah, it's important to help us grow what we do.
Yes. Well done.
It was a perfect segue, man. I had to take the opportunity.
Yep.
But seriously, tell your friends because it's important.
Yeah.
But while this all falls under the prog metal genre, it's not long songs. If long songs put you off prog metal, it's just like if you hear this band, I don't even know it's strictly prog metal, but that prog thing covers a lot of barriers. But most of these songs
this one's really engaging. It's really organic and engaging the whole way through.
Yeah,
It's not
pretentious. It doesn't take itself too seriously. It just covers serious things. But you can also enjoy it as just straight music. If you're going to deep dive on the lyrics, if you're willing to take that journey, then it's going to be very rewarding. But if you just want to enjoy it as cool metal, then that's cool. But most of these songs get done under the 4-minute mark, but they pack a fucking lot into those 4 minutes.
Yeah.
And then there's times when they can show off their musicianship, like The Other Side, that gives a band fucking great time. There's some very cool stuff in that.
I liked how they used percussion and vocal to drive that song more than anything else too. That was really the way they shifted things around in that regard was cool. Yeah,
I do like that as well. But So Tired, that's a very angry track, and that just punches you right in the face from the start. And they're not in the lyrics, they don't use a whole lot of profanity, but the profanity in that just hammers the point home really well. If you overuse anything,
dissonant note choices, that was cool too.
And if you overuse anything, it just becomes that's your one trick. But there's that whole "I'm so fucking tired." It's just a punch, and then it works. There's nice shifts from the mellow feel to the original tempo when they go back to it, and then it's a longer track on the album at 5 minutes. But a lot happens in that 5 minutes, and the mood is very different at the end.
Yeah,
it's like what other epic prog metal bands can do in 20 minutes. These guys get done in 5. And
that's a good way to put it, actually.
It's not exhausting because they do pack a lot into it. There's no fluff. They trim the fat. And which leads me to my next point. The composition in these next songs is fantastic. There's great use of single notes against chords. Excuse me. And it can be quite dissonant at times and a bit uncomfortable. But then that fits the theme of the stories that they're telling in the lyrics. It's not always the most upbeat listen, but at no sense does this give in to disparity. There's that underlining subtle need that you're going to get into a better place if you just go through the darkness, which is important. You've got to feel the bad to get to the good.
I picked up on that whole vibe through the whole thing too.
It can take you to hell, but it's going to bring you back, which is important. It made into a lot of people's recommendations for top 10s last year, and deservedly so. If you haven't heard this album, definitely give it a listen. I give it 8.5 out of 10. Nil by Now, The Other Side, So Tired, and Great Heights were my standouts. But fucking very good album.
Cool. So I'm going to quickly touch on a few tracks you didn't bring up in that one. They're Unbroken for me. That one puts me in mind of Evergrey in the best possible way. The way you got some falsetto vocals, the way the chords underneath were fitting that vibe, that was epic. When that moment hit the album, I was like, oh my God, I'm fucking sick. Because I'm a huge Evergrey fan. And it wasn't a rip-off or anything like that, but it was just, if you like Evergrey, you're going to love that song. And that's where, for me, this whole album is one of those ones where, like you said, it takes you to the dark place to bring you back to the light kind of thing. But it's also one of those ones where anyone can find tracks on this one to enjoy. If you want it heavy, light, soft, dark, whatever, you will find something on this album for everyone, but it all fits together incredibly well. Great Heights is almost like a teasing kind of a track. It's almost like a bit of a dick tease kind of thing. It pays off, but it makes you wait for it a bit longer than you want to. Like the other tracks sort of hit their strides earlier. That one doesn't really pay off until sort of more near the end of the song, which is another nod to the composition, the way they build things. The tension they built in that song was really cool. Start Again was a bit of a slow one that served the album well. It's a good sort of place on the album to being the second last track here, which is a nice one. Still, none of the tracks here are slow. Like they've got different tempo change. You've got slower tracks, you've got faster tracks for sure, but nothing is slow. You've got somber moments, and the mood is set with all these songs, and they all tie together well. But the way it takes you on a journey with the ebb and flow through the whole thing, like everyone, my old catch cry, peaks and troughs, this one has that and then some. And then you got the closing track, Visiting Hours, which is the single that we've linked you all to. It's the perfect album closer that builds to a great crescendo. It's another one you can see why it was chosen, like Nil by Now and Visiting Hours. You can see why they're chosen as singles. But the emotive weight in that final closing track is just fucking impressive. And the way the final soft note rings out with the final vocal, perfect. The way to wrap this album up was just done so damn well. Just generally speaking, it's great to have these guys back after a long break. And it's good to have them back on fire as well. Like, we did a special episode on these guys, Carnival and 12 Foot Ninja, years ago now at Whole Lot of Love, as one of our live shows. And this album fits in nicely after the last album really, really well. It's grown, there's shifts and changes and stuff, but it doesn't feel like it's a different band dramatically. It feels like the band has just evolved and come to this point organically, which just feels right. Atmosphere. This album is all about atmosphere. The depth to the mix on this one is absolutely fucking phenomenal. It's dark, but it's really lush to listen to. It's inviting and beautiful at the same time as being dark, and it's got that seductive quality to it when you listen to it. The balance, the attention to detail is fucking great. The use of panning in particular across this record was absolutely wonderful. I loved it. Both albums we're reviewing tonight have a lot of panning, but this one was really good on that front. If you like the darker side of things, it's got the metal edge, but like the alt rock, alt metal kind of thing with progressive elements, like Dave mentioned. This has that and more. It's got all that, and it gives you hooks at the same time. And that's what gives it. It makes these songs last. The songs are composed really well. The performances stay with you as well. The emotive weight in these songs across all performances and all the writing is fantastic. But on top of that, this whole thing, for the genre of music, there's great tones here. I love the grit they've captured on the mix as well. It's heavy, melodic, attention grabbing. But it's all the things you want from this style of music, with none of the generic cliches that are so fucking tired now that it's not funny. They have kept this fresh, and beyond that, it's also refreshing. So when you listen to it, you go to those darker places, but you come out the end of it feeling like it's that cathartic kind of an album. Like you feel like you've purged something, and you come out there, it's like going, fuck, I feel lighter after listening to it. Like you go to a dark place, it's emotively wonderful. But on top of all this sort of stuff, which emotions and things like that, there's an edge to this stuff. Like there's an edge to all these songs. It's really well captured and presented. Performances are out of the park on this one, like I was saying before. The album flow is fantastic. The lyrical content, like you mentioned, Dave, is just bang on. Storytelling across the board in here is fantastic. I like the way they presented this thing with weight and the emphasis they've given that aspect on these songs. It's another way these songs stay with you. Aside from the hooks, that just the emphasis they've given to the weight in the emotive context. It shifts in things like push and pull in production, the way they push and pull the vocals in particular to add dramatic impact, does that, but also the way they've left space. So the use of space across this whole thing is really phenomenally well done. Like they'll do things where it's just drums and vocals, and you've got almost purely vocals, and you've got the guitars, and just everything gets moments, but nothing is overly condensed, which is fantastic for this style of music. And it just adds this push and pull, ebb and flow effect to the whole thing, which just makes it flow. And for me, it got better the more time I spent with it. The more I listened to it, the better it got. And there's a lot to unpack in this one, and I still feel like you could listen to this for the rest of this year and still be unpacking stuff at the end of the year. It's just one of those things where there's a lot of layers to this one. But it's rewarding if you'll put in the effort. But at the same time, aside from that, even if you just give it one spin, just put it on, it'll grab you right from the start. It's one of those ones that's immediately gripping, sucks you in, and then when you start getting into it deeper, it's like, oh, hang on, there's a lot here to unpack. This is pretty fucking impressive. It's really well done. Just drags you back for more easily. Like I said, though, the fearless use of space is what sets this one apart from, I just couldn't believe how well they used it on this one in both the composition and production. It was just so well done. I think it's fantastic from top to bottom. It's easy to see why this one got the audience vote that it did. Well done to all involved. It was just fantastic. If I had to sum up this album in one word, it'd be emotion. It's loaded with it. Delivery is wonderful. But this is a really damn fine album, and I hope we get more like this from this band. I think it's fantastic. So hopefully this is the beginning, not the end of another chapter for the Butterfly Effect. This is fantastic. So I gave it 9 out of 10. Unbroken, So Tired, and Visiting Hours are my standouts on this one. So there we go. Vinny, hopefully you enjoyed it, because he's going, let's go. And then he's going, that first track is ridiculously epic, like it's about to king hit you in the dick with the rest of the album. So there we go. Vinny also says, Unbroken is beautiful, and to end on Visiting Hours, holy fuck, my water has broken needle whiz. So there we go. Rowan says, I like it, cool. Jeff, who was here before, says, great band, Butterfly Effect, remind me of a band called Dead Soul Tribe. Cool, I haven't checked them out. Okay. Mark with a random question. Are all your previous episodes available to watch online somewhere? If you're talking about our live streams, they are. Every live stream we've done is available online, so you can go back and check those out. You just have to go to the live tab on our YouTube page to find those ones. But if you're on Facebook, go through our videos. I'll be there as well, I think. And Vinny says, fun fact, my comment featured on their 2012 DVD, the word gutted was highlighted during the discussion on the end of the band. I'll shut up now. Now, I love it. That's the part. That's why, like, we're making a conscious shift this year, just to get into the weeds of it, to be more, we always were, but we tried to sort of do things. Let's, try and do the newest of the new. And we're not going to do the newest of the newest much this year, not in the main format. We wanted to try and make this a lot more of a by fan, for fan conversation kind of aspect. So, things like this come up where Vinny gets to jump in and go, I love this album, I love this band, this is why. And we get different weeks, different people get to come in and say those things, because we do different stuff every week. So that's, wanted to be more like that this year, and we're off to a good start with our first stream with Vinny. So hopefully you enjoyed the review, and I'm glad that you got to enjoy.
Recommendations are always awesome. Just knowing what other people like, and check out this album. Just reminds me of back in high school. We didn't have the internet. We didn't have fucking Spotify or YouTube. It's like, you got to hear this. This is the best fucking thing I've heard in ages. It's like, okay, lend me the cassette or make me a copy. But now it's easier to share music, so let's do it.
Yeah, and let's talk about it more. And, all that sort of stuff. Let's celebrate the shit. That's the fun part of it all. Vinny's gone, thanks, lads, made my year already. There's a long way to go yet, mate, but no, I'm glad that you've really enjoyed it. But that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make it an interactive thing, especially with the live stream side of things. So we want to encourage comments and conversation and stuff. So, but again, you gave, what did you give this one again, Dave? Sorry?
8.5.
8.5, yeah, cool. So I just pipped you there, but great band. Great. Their catalog of work. If you haven't checked out the Butterfly Effect, please do. And this album is as good a place to start as any. I think it's fantastic. So well done. If they're still watching, then great stuff. Well done all around. I'm really
you for a full album.
Yeah. So thank you. That's it. It gives something to talk about, which we actually really, really loved. So well done all around on that one. Alrighty, one more album to get through, and then we're out of here. We're going to try and keep these ones a little bit shorter this year. Instead of the 3 and 4 hour epics we got into last year, we're trying to avoid those massive long ones this year. We'll see how we go. No promises on that one, unfortunately, but we'll try our best. But for now, time for the Patreon choice classic album review. And this is Led Zeppelin, Houses of the Holy. Dave's holding up the CD there, so get into that one now. Cool artwork, by the way. But in the comments and the description, we've got Led Zeppelin, Over the Hills and Far Away as the reference track for this one. So again, this is Houses of the Holy from Led Zeppelin. It's 8 tracks, 41 minutes. The 5th studio album from the English band, released March 73 via Atlantic. Produced by Jimmy Page at a few studios across London. Mixed by Eddie Kramer. 2 singles were released in Over the Hills and Far Away and Die Maker. While reviews were mixed when this one came out, this was another success for the band, peaking number 1 in the US, UK, Canada, and Australia with numerous top 10s all over Europe. It's been certified 11 times platinum in the US, 2 times platinum in France and Australia, platinum in the UK, which is actually incredibly hard to do, and gold in Germany. The album is celebrating its 50th anniversary this year and is this week's Patreon choice classic album review. If you want to get involved in the voting, join our Patreon page. Link is in the description. But for now, Dave, what do you think of this one? You own it.
I love this fucking album. So good. Cool. Gotta own it twice.
Wow.
Had to get it on vinyl. But high school for me ended in 97. In 98, with all the fucking new metal shit, I backtracked. I went over classic rock because I didn't like all the drop D hip hop fucking no solo crap. So I became a massive Led Zeppelin fan very quickly. And when I got to this album, it's just like, holy shit. People will debate until the end of time what is Led Zeppelin's best album. Now, this might not be their rockiest album, but this has always been my personal favorite for a very long time. at a very young age, I kind of discovered that what I like about an album, it shows diversity, different emotions, and what a band is capable of. You can't just have the same fucking tempo, the same theme, the same song for the duration. This is 8 songs that are completely different from each other and shouldn't work as an album. There's no business that all different songs on this should work, and it worked perfectly. You know, you couldn't subtract or substitute a song, a song off this album, and it just doesn't happen. This is perfect. And this shows what the band was capable of. So many different things. I mean, it opens with your typical Zeppelin. You kind of get people into their safe space with the song remains the same. This is what you come for. Yeah, and then there's a massive 180 with the Rain song, which would have to be one of the most beautiful guitar compositions ever recorded.
It's a beautiful song, period, that one. Yeah.
The song, like the open tuning, the bizarre. I hate detuning my guitar, but I did it once when I was younger just to learn this song, and you'll never, no one will ever capture it. Page is a fucking master, but
also the classic string element that just came straight out of the 60s and 70s, like the way the string come in like that made the song. It sold it perfect.
Exactly. That's my next point. You know, the orchestra complements and the strings and everything. That just it's perfectly done. It complements and it amplifies what he's doing on the acoustic guitar. It gives it that extra weight. And then you got Robert Plant's lyrics. I mean, the guy was an absolute master of. You know, most of the time, I don't even think he knew what he was talking about. It just sounds amazing. I can listen to Zeppelin for hours and not have a fucking clue what he's talking about. Like, sometimes we're like, that's Tolkien, that's some Lord of the Rings shit. But other times it's just like, what are you doing, dude? Get off the drug. It's wonderfully done. Yeah. And then next up, you got one of my favorite Zeppelin songs of all time, Over the Hills and Far Away. I can remember, like, my first introduction with Zeppelin was the remastered double CD that they released in the mid-90s. Like, Zeppelin, they're classic rock. I got to check this band out. They influenced so many of my favorites. Yeah. I'll buy this. And every song of that is just fucking phenomenal. It's a great collection. Over the Hills and Far Away is not on there.
No, it's not.
So no, it's not. I don't know why, but it's not. And then I bought their albums periodically. I managed to do that because sometimes some when you're going through bands' catalogs, you can't do that. But Zeppelin, it was easy. So I start here. I got this and like, holy shit, this song, it's happy. It's a lot of fun. It's
an uplifting song.
And it shifts from this acoustic thing to like this guitar, heavy distorted guitar thing. And it's just so fun to play along with. It was one of those songs where I had to pick up a guitar. I had to learn how to do it. I tried it myself and I ended up getting a transcription. And it's actually more complex. It looks more complex than it is. It's actually quite easy to play. But about 8 years ago, I did a Diploma of Music Tuition course at the MWT. So I got like the Diploma of Music qualification and certificate 2 in tuition, which is obsolete now because it's fucking they change this shit as soon as you get it. Yeah. But I had to perform in front of the class. Like, I'll go acoustic. It's easier than having to amp up. What song can I do? So I picked Over the Hills and Far Away. So I had to slightly rewrite it because I couldn't do like guitar, acoustic, and electric at the time. Yeah, it was just one of the few times I've actually performed a full song in front of people, and it went over really well. It's just I just adored that fucking song, and it's got a good memory with me. And I remember when I first ran into Julia. Who became my wife. We were both heading to JB Hi-Fi at the same time, and we're like, what's that? She's like, she's going to buy some Sabbath and some Zeppelin, and she's like, what album should I buy? So she ended up buying Sabbath 1 and Zeppelin 4. And we ended up talking like fucking, everyone goes with Sabbath 4. Houses of the Holy is what you got to hear. You got to hear this fucking song. Like I said, if I wasn't doing this show, I'd be outside fucking primary schools handing out CDs saying, you got to listen to this. I'm good I got this outlet, otherwise I'd be in jail. Anyway, moving on.
Don't worry, French coach. You'll be okay.
No. Hey, check out this album. It's Zeppelin.
God. Oh, the visual made that one.
I got
Oh, wow.
plenty of t-shirts, I got plenty of jackets, but yeah, check out what I'm wearing today.
Yeah, I know.
But then, yeah, another change of pace. You got Lagrange, and it changes pace, different styles, and Zeppelin never done anything like this before. You got some funk, you got lyrics in the style of James Brown. You know, later on you get some reggae with Jamaica. Interesting spelling on that. But then this is just a fucking great album. Page had a great way of repeating the riff over and over, and it never got repetitive.
Yeah.
And yeah, whether you listen to this on CD or record, these are records. They're made out of vinyl. Don't call them vinyl because you sound like a fucking hipster. They're records. Just before I got on to do this live stream, I've almost forgot to grab the record. I grabbed it and came out and just like, oh, Julia, almost forgot the vinyl. And Jade, my daughter, said, Daddy, they're records. Like, we have taught you well, sweetie. Occasionally I fuck up and still call them vinyl because everyone calls them vinyl. Stop being a hipster. They're records. Old school. Records. Anyway, whether you're listening to this on CD, record, or digital, the production on this album is outstanding. Credit to Eddie Kramer, who worked very closely with Jimi Hendrix, who's fucking God.
Yes, very good producer.
He's here somewhere on the battle jacket, but yeah. This is a great example of how music and production works really well together and makes songs perfect.
Yeah,
no quarter, for example. I can reference things all throughout this album, but I'll keep it quick because we want to go to sleep. But no quarter, this is the only time that the album actually really takes a dark turn. But
yeah, definitely. Yep,
it's such a great song, and the panning when you're listening to it on good headphones, and it goes from side to side, and it just takes you into this different world. And you listen to Robert Plant telling his story. It's just fucking beautiful.
The hard panning across this whole album was phenomenal. Like, if you want an old school classic hard panning album, everyone's talking about AC/DC left and right, but this one just
composed their music. The band composed their music. Robert Plant does his lyrics. It's up to the producer to make it orally interesting, and that's just that extra icing on the cake to bring that mood for the listener.
Yep.
And then you got the placement of these songs is just perfect because no quarter is second last. It brings you back up for the ocean. You leave people on a high, and you can just repeat this album over and over. And like I said to start with, 8 very different songs that have no business having any connection to each other, and it's all just perfect. That's what makes this album a fucking 10 out of 10 for me. I would say that this is just every song is a standout, but I got to list my personal standards, my personal favorites, and that's just Rain Song, Over the Hills, Jamaica, and No Quarter. But fuck it, what a great album. They don't make them like they used to.
Wow, cool. For me, the grunge one, that one didn't get me. Like, I didn't really like that one. Yeah, no,
Oh no!
I know it's not a bad song.
You can't take it as a piss take though. It's a joke.
Yeah, but it felt like forced artistry. Not, do you know what I mean? Like, it's just to me listening to it. Oh well, fine, but that's what it felt forced to me. Like, it's not a bad song, but just in the context, like you're saying. The thing about this album is the diversity, and that one jumps out more than the rest. It's like, oh, hang on, like a bit of a sore thumb kind of stick out one. That track, it's not a bad song, but just in the context of the album, was like, oh, hang on, that one. I know you say everything fits, but for me, that one didn't quite fit. I just want to note that one there. Flip side is though the tracks like The Ocean. I reckon The Ocean is probably the sleeper track on this one. It's the one that people overlook. You say a track, like Over the Hills and Far Away isn't on that greatest hits compilation. I probably agree with you, but I think The Ocean deserves a spot on there too, to be honest. I know it's not nearly as well spoken about and all that stuff, but the way it's composed and performed, that's a fucking great way to close the album. It's infectious. It's a good way to close it off. And that particular track, I enjoyed that more and more and more. Like, I don't know this album as well as other Led Zeppelin albums, but this one, to me, that was a great way to close it out. So No Quarter was a good sort of secondary closing track as well. Dire Maker is one of my fucking all-time favorites from the band as well. So just the hook, the groove, the tempo shifts, and that was just, it's such a cool little song to fucking just listen to. It's simple little one, but it's a lot of fun. Now, obviously, with Led Zeppelin, they're a band that can do no fucking wrong. So, if you dare say they did, well, oh my God, fuck you. And I tend to agree with that. I don't think, and I can understand why the reviews were mixed when it came out. I don't think this is the band's strongest work. Like, you compare this to my all-time personal favorite, the fourth album. I know everyone goes to it, but it's my personal favorite. This, compared to that, it's a good album, but that's like the pinnacle for me, whereas this one is good. There's a few flat spots on it, like, the crunch. It just didn't do anything for me. It's a very, very solid album, though. From top to bottom, it's a very solid album. There's a lot of high spots on this one. The mix is phenomenal. My God. I could talk about the mix for hours on this one. You got the tones, the sparkle on this one is fantastic. The warmth, the way things came and pushed and pulled and were introduced and then pulled away, and how each song is different, not only in style and writing, but also in sonics and just how it all fit. This is a masterclass on, old school vintage production. This one, it just the use of panning. Oh my God. I could listen to the panning on this one for fucking days. Just if you're an audiophile, you got to hear this album. Even if the songs don't grab you, just the sonics of this one is just, oh wow, it's so good. So much attention to detail on this one. The little delay on the last note of the Rain song is just one example of that. There's this little, like, it's in the fade out, but they chucked the delay at that point, which serves ultimately no purpose apart from people like me who go, fucking wow, like that was cool. Yeah, like I just love that shit. The panning on tracks like Over the Hills and Far Away, the way that the end of it, the panning at the end was just really cool there too. But for me, the fun part about this whole album is just how feel good it is. Like, it's actually got a lot of feel good things. There's a couple of darker spots, but nothing really. This just really is an uplifting, overall good times kind of album. Like, you got some really danceable kind of stuff. You can easily see why a lot of these songs were popular for a long time. Like Dire Maker again is another one. It's just that like, just, it's such a simple little fucking thing, but it's just so cool. And they did that well. Like, they were able to be complex, but they were able to be simplistic at the same time. The simplistic stuff and the way they made it catchy, infectious, and really get your attention is so well done on the high spots on this record. Is not only the writing, but also the tones, performance. Like I said, the sparkle before, that helps that along too. Great performances. Expect no less from these guys. I mean, what the fuck? But what I found, like, I thought there was great writing overall on this one too. What I found in particular was, on this album more than other ones, I think the bottom gets to lead the show a bit more. On the drums, I feel like the drums got to be. It's always been the Page and Plant show, and everyone else was very good at what they did, and Bonham more than stood up to them. But just, it felt like they just stripped things away a bit and allowed the drumming to sort of really show off a bit more on this one. The snap and the groove and the sway, and it was just, that was cool. Like, I don't know if it was an intentional thing or if it's just me picking up on something just as this time around listening to it. But I just felt like, that Bonham got a bit more time to shine, which I thought was well and truly deserved, and actually highlighted these things, because you don't get as much flash from Page and Plant on this record as you do compared to other ones. So this album doesn't have that same level of fucking hysterics that they can do. This one was just more solidified, and I think that allowed the rhythm section to really hold this down a lot more. And so I just appreciated that while listening to it. Like anything with these guys, though, they don't really put a foot wrong. It's a creative, energetic album, and the band are definitely in creative control of what they're doing and doing whatever the hell they want by this point in time, and well deserved. But for me, even though I wasn't a big fan of tracks like The Crunch, at least they weren't sitting pretty. Like, it would be easy for them to just sort of sit back and just do whatever they wanted. But like Dave said, they got 8 tracks that are all very different to each other. So I just thought, that was very, very cool, very well done. I just thought that, well done overall on putting together a good, solid album. 5th album in. At that time, it was harder to do than you think. And they did a really good job with it that made it interesting, engaging, and actually made you feel good listening to it. So, I can see why reviews are mixed, but I can also see why it sold so well, because it's such a good album to listen to at the same time. So whilst my review isn't as favorable as Dave's, I still rate it. It's a good fucking album. Solid album, gives you everything you want from these guys, from the stuff you expect to the stuff you don't expect. And if you like classic rock and haven't checked this album out, you've got to give this one a spin for sure. I gave it an 8 out of 10. I picked Dire Maker, The Rain Song, and Over the Hills and Far Away as my standouts on this one. So there we go. What'd you give it again, Dave? Just for my sake?
10. Had to be 10.
There we go. So that's where we're at. But it's cool that we get some differences of opinion on that one too, which is nice. All right,
It'd be boring if we agree on everything.
Yeah. No, well, that's it. It's definitely boring if we all agree on everything. Which is why I enjoyed being contrarian on the battle before. Nicole jumped in a bit here. Back to Butterfly Effect. She said they're great at what they do, but not my bag, which is fair enough. That's everyone's taste to decide on. But Zeppelin, on the other hand, for Nicole, have a raw yet impeccable sound, absolute brilliance. Jeff, here we go, David. So for you, probably my fave Zepp album next to all of them. So there you go.
It's interesting. The more people I talk to, everyone says Zeppelin 4. A lot of people go to Houses of the Holy.
I can see it. It's just, yeah, like even Nicole, she's agreeing with Jeff's comment there too. So you're getting a few in the comments just there alone. Mark says, Jack Black couldn't be more right. Greatest band ever. Over the Hills and Far Away is a masterpiece. The Crunch, The Ocean, Dancing Days, Music is My Religion, and Zeppelin are the four gods on the throne. There you go. High praise indeed there from Mark. Well done. Phil says, I heard John Norum from Europe has a Over the Hills and Far Away as fave song. Wow, that's cool. Nice. I didn't know that one, but that's good to hear. Basher says, I love this album. Dave said it all. It's so diverse in all different styles. The songs from the album make me feel so good. Saw the Rain song live in 96 and it mesmerized me. It was amazing. Wow. I listen to it often with all the other albums. I can't say it's my favorite album of all time. It changes all the time, which is fair enough too. Everyone's things shift. Darren says, great album. The Ocean is a great song. Yeah, it is a fucking standout song on that one. Arlo says, love that album. Over the Hills and Far Away is my favorite Zepp song, and The Ocean slays. So getting a lot of love for The Ocean, which is cool. Love to see it. Here we go. I love Bonzo style. He hit him hard. Definitely. Yeah, definitely did that. What do we got here? Teatress reviewed Zepp albums a few years ago and chose Zeppelin 3 as their best choice. Surprised me. That was a few years ago now. I don't think I back and revisit that one myself. Yeah.
I don't think I was on that. I'd fucking love to review all the Zeppelin albums.
Yeah, I don't think we did them all. We did a few though, from memory. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think we did them all from memory, but I might be wrong. There's a few we did. We did something of, I forget the actual thing we did the few. I have to go through the archives. Fuck. I've done that much over how many years now? I forget what we've done, to be honest. Sorry. Apologies. Phil says band with the best manager. Well, that's a good point there too.
I think it's on the song we made, like the movie they did, and the guys arguing about the bootleg T-shirts. How the fuck did this happen?
Yeah,
you didn't want to cross him. Fuck, he was brutal.
Yep. But that's what you kind of needed to be back then too. Like it's still this case now, I guess. But
back
then in particular, if you wanted a hard ass on your side, it made life a lot easier. The manager will go to the ends of the earth for you. I mean, even up to as recent as bands like In Excess, when a manager can make a big difference to a band's career, the right one can make a big difference.
Yeah, even back to the 50s with Elvis and Colonel Parker, you don't fuck with Colonel Parker.
Yeah, exactly. People still talk about a bunch of managers over the years now. I'm trying to remember a fucking name, and I just had it in my head. And, like a Doc.
Doc
McGee, yeah.
Doc McGee, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one that everyone still talks about to this day. Everyone still mentions Sharon, but hey, there's a fucking, there's a reason for that. So all that, it is important in the right circumstances. Jeff says, I thought Jack Black said Rush was the greatest band of all time. I'd have to go back and watch.
Don't pull that.
And Philo says, got to be Led Zeppelin 2 for me, which is cool. Actually, an interesting poll to do, wouldn't it? Interesting poll. Best Led Zeppelin album. That's an interesting poll to do at some point. Yeah. I think Led Zeppelin's debut album has its anniversary next year. I did look at that, and so maybe next year we'll do a full deep dive into the band's discography because we like to do it.
69, so yeah, what, 55? I can't do my math.
No,
yeah, it was 69. Fuck. Yeah, if you think of it that way, man, when Zeppelin released their first album, Hendrix was still alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been a fucking great time to be alive, man.
Mm-hmm.
Late 60s, early 70s.
Yeah. Interesting for sure. Musically be fucking wow. Vinny's got a comment of the night though. No one talks about Yoko. Well, that's true. For obvious reasons in the opposite way. One, not musically for sure, but two, yeah, he broke up one of the best.
I heard her scream. Nobody wants to hear her scream, and John Lennon was up close when he heard her scream.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Phil's gone, damn, my PC crashed. That sucks, unfortunately. Hopefully it's back. Obviously, it's back up and running now. Hopefully you're back with us. Mark said, you know how some bands talk about albums as their children that they release into the world? Zeppelin's children have the most diverse personalities of all. They're also different to each other, and Physical Graffiti is my favorite kid. Physical Graffiti is pretty fucking cool. So, yeah.
That's a good fucking album.
That's a good one.
Very good.
Like, they didn't release it.
Such underrated tracks on Physical Graffiti.
Yeah. They didn't release it.
That's a much better album than fucking Exile on Main Street if you're going to compare Zeppelin to the Stones.
Well, yeah.
As far as double albums.
Darren says, Jack says a lot. He also said Nirvana was the last great rock band. Go figure. So, I don't know. Jack Black can do whatever he wants, I guess, these days. But yeah, that brings us to the conclusion of proceedings tonight here. Have you got anything else you wanted to throw in there, Dave, before we get to the wrap up in the bin, or?
No. I think we're good.
No.
First stream for the year went pretty good.
Yeah, it's been good fun. We had a really good story from Jeff earlier on too. So if you're tuning in late, that was fucking hilarious.
I didn't know Canadians knew how to raise hell.
Fucking hell, Dave. Don't even know how to answer that one. Jeff, I'll let you answer him next time around. He'll strap you down and make you listen to Rush for an hour after that. So that'll be interesting. Anvil are a fun band. Although I do have to say that their first album was fucking phenomenal. After that, it's kind of been hit and miss in a lot of ways. Nicole says Yoko is in her 80s. How and why? Well, that's an interesting question that no one knows the answer to. What is Nicole says, been a great night. Thanks, guys. You're most welcome. We're back into the swing of things. We're back again, same time and place next week. Before we get out of here, I'll show more comments later on. Before we get out of here, special thank you to some special patrons of ours. So TC, Sonia, Lee, Bell, Conrad, Jeff, Jason, Brendan, 16x9, Marty, Sam, Trash, Carolyn, Gwyneth, Andrew, Daniel, Mann, family, Adam, Darren, and Vinny. Thank you all so much for your support. Greatly appreciated. And we'll be back again with more same time place next week with another stream next Thursday night. Here we go. Yeah, TC says off top, but just remember the Tea Party are a brilliant Canadian band. They are fucking phenomenal. I love that band to bits. Philo's going, peace out from Denmark. I'm glad you've joined us tonight. Thank you for jumping in on Twitch.
Thank
also,
you.
the movie is hilarious. The Anvil movie is hilarious. Actually, it's fucking hilarious. In that one, it's good. Like you can't fault the story. It's just that the albums later on, it's like, yeah, everyone goes, why weren't they bigger? And it's like you listen to later albums, it's like they weren't bad, but you can see why they weren't bigger at the same time. So it's like, okay, it's a bit like that. If you want to help us out, please check out our Patreon page. It'd be greatly appreciated. There's links to all this stuff in the description box. A big thank you, as always, to our fantastic sponsors in Squid Ink Screenprinting, Alt-Cvlt Rockstar Finance. The details are in the description box as well, as are ours. So find them, give them a follow, a like, a share. Do the same thing for us. Spread the word, hit the like button, subscribe, all that sort of shit. If you're listening to it on Spotify, there'll be a question thing there. So we'll work out a question and put it in there and answer that one, or just give us your thoughts in general. But wherever you're tuning in, listening, watching, whatever, thank you for your time. Hopefully you've enjoyed the show, whether you're here with us tonight live or tuning in at a later on time when it suits you better than it does to watch live with us. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Thank you for spending some time with us. Hopefully we've entertained you and introduced you to some good music as well. Our next stream, next Thursday night, our Aussie band of the week will be Nothing Sacred with Leviathan. The new release coming out drops tomorrow, actually, if I'm correct. And then our battle for the Battle for Canada, we'll call it that. Battle for Canada round 2 is Kick Axe Vices versus Lee Aaron with Metal Queen.
We'll have another Blame Canada.
Blame Canada. Actually, not bad. I might do that. Actually, I might call it Blame Canada. King of the Riff, Blame Canada. That's not a bad one. Actually, I might switch it to that. We'll also have a Patreon choice album. So Patreon supporters, make sure you get into the posts and give us your votes for that as well. We're going to be introducing a new way of doing deep cuts. So I'm going to go back through the earlier comments tonight and work out which of the 4 bands was the winner in the end and go through that and do a deep cuts. We'll start going through the discography of the band, a full deep dive for an online content. And then we'll have this thing called bonus tracks, which is a new platform of content. We've done something called bonus tracks before. We've actually refined what we want it to be. And the bonus tracks aspect is going to have things like reviews of Black Star Riders, Kill Code, Main Skin, Glamfest, and more coming up in our next edition or first edition of the new revamped format for bonus tracks as well. For TV, don't forget you can check us out on TV. So 10:30 local time, Channel 44 Adelaide Thursday nights, 11 p.m. local time, Channel 31 in Melbourne. Those are our time slots. So 10:30 p.m. Thursday nights, Channel 44 Adelaide time. In Adelaide, obviously, and 11 p.m. I've got to get used to that. 11 p.m. Saturday nights on Channel 31 in Melbourne and Geelong. But this week is new music. The week after is all to do with tunes to do with Valentine's Day and David. I had a lot of fun filming that one. Then there's one that's more new tunes for you to check out. And then our next special after that will be a celebration of new metal and post-2000 tunes. So that's when we're having some fun there. But I think that's what we got, except for the bin. We'll get to the bin in a moment. What do we got here? Darren says, awesome show again, guys. Welcome back. Thank you for having us, and thank you for tuning in. Jeff says, keen-eyed viewers would have been able to see my Tea Party post in the background, so there you go. Phyllis says, my son-in-law is Aussie. Awesome, man. Cool. Darren says, all I saw was a ghost when Jeff was here. Man, says, thanks again. Thank you as well. Nicole says, oh, man, Lee Aaron, all the way from me. Love her. Awesome. Basher says, great start to the year. Thank you so much for that. Conrad says, great show again, guys. Great to meet up with Dave at Glamfest. It was a good, fun night.
That was fun, man. We're going to do that again soon.
My day job boss was actually there too. He sent me photos of the merch stand and stuff when he was there. So yeah, my boss was there as well.
I haven't seen video of me during the Wednesday 13 set. I was right up the front. I've never been more animated during a concert ever. Wednesday just got the fucking energy out of me. I'm surprised I haven't seen video, but fuck, that was fun. That was so much fun.
Well, your review will be available to the public very, very soon. Hopefully over the weekend, I'll be able to cut that together and release it very soon.
Ooh.
Basher says, great start to the year. See you next week. We're back again. What do we got here? Vinny says, my bin. They didn't play Wasp's woke version of Fuck Like a Beast at Archbishop Pell's funeral today, called Fuck Like a Priest. Thanks, Dave. I haven't forgotten Oh, wow. Oh, wow. This is great. Shit. Fucking hell. Philo's enjoying that one. Arlo says, first watch with Conrad. We'll watch again. Well done. Great stuff. Awesome, mate. Thank you so much. I'm glad you enjoyed the show, and thank you for joining us. All right. It is that time, apart from Pell going in the bin, because you know what? Fuck him.
Fuck him.
That fucker rots. But besides that, it is time for the actual bin this week. And hang on, sorry, before we do, Philo says, I'll be back. Awesome. We look forward to seeing you again as well. Thank you to the new faces. Great to get new faces in here. But Dave, your first streaming bin for 2023, what is it?
First, fuck, I got 3. Sorry, it's been a few weeks. Okay, now, I live...
What is that? There's a prop. Okay.
It's a prop. Luna Drive-In. I fucking love Luna Drive-In. Taking my kids there since Jade was a little girl. Her first movie was like a Muppet movie. It's just, you got 4 different screens, great movies. The fucking Luna Burger is to die for. I love that fucking hamburger. It's great for families. The prices are great. If you go to the cinema these days, it costs you almost $100 once you pay for entry for the whole family and food. Okay, unfortunately, recently, Luna Drive-In have announced that they have to sell. The price of their land tax at the moment has escalated to $410,000 a year. In a couple of years, it'll be $700,000 a year for land tax. I don't know what the fuck the government does to deserve this amount of money. They don't run the business. They don't pay the staff. They don't supply the films or the food for the patrons. Just for some reason, the business is lucky enough to own some land, some property, and the fucking government gets $700,000 a fucking year, or at the moment, $410,000 a fucking year. They don't deserve it. This land tax is bullshit, and unfortunately, Luna Drive-In has to close. So many families love going there. They're always packed. The staff are lovely. The food is fantastic, and the movies are a great price. So land tax in the fucking bin. That pissed me off.
Agree.
Okay, a more light-hearted one. As you know, new battle jacket. Jewelry ain't sewing the shit, so I've had to learn to do it myself. Now, anybody who thinks that sewing is unmanly, get in the fucking bin, because you can lift your fucking bench presses, you can do your squats, you can work on your fucking cars, you stick a needle in your finger, it fucking hurts. Okay? Sewing is what real men do.
Oh, wow. Nice.
And the third one. I've been sitting out here in my moccasins. I'm now wearing a beanie, okay? I'm also wearing pants, which is bad enough. It's the 2nd of February. The fucking weather sucks. My birthday is tomorrow. I can't remember the last time it's been raining on my birthday, but apparently it's going to be 15 degrees with torrential thunderstorms. Fuck off. In the bin. It's summer. I want my summer, especially for my birthday. It's been bad enough we've had some shitty fucking weather recently. So, yeah, grumpy old man complains about everything. Put myself in the bin, because why the fuck not? That's it.
All
Chicken
right.
in New York with a bang. Oh, one more thing.
Okay.
Had to wear that because it was a prop, but if you're watching, Sonia, you're a fucking champion. Thank you for my birthday present. Kiss rule.
Oh.
I'm going to use this beanie a lot in summer because the weather sucks.
Nice. Yeah, I knew the weather was coming, and it is a big time commiseration to Luna driving. That's a shame. That is an iconic institution. It'd be a shame to see it go. Yeah, that sucks. We've got some comments here before I get to my bin. I'm going to quickly do it. About the Pell comment, Jeff said comment of the century, that one. So back to that one. Fuck like a priest. Philo says tax is murder, which is where we go there. Here we go. Jeff says Dave wearing a toque. Is it toque? I forget that pronunciation correct? Not a fucking beanie.
Just some Canadian shit.
Yeah, that was that one he wore at the Rush special, remember?
Canada is a strange planet, man.
Philo says sewing. Well, yeah, when Dave's sewing his patches onto his battle jacket,
patches,
there, that's
man. You don't want to see the inside. It's a fucking hack job. But they're staying on there. That's the main thing.
Vinny says Dave's fashion catalog out this week.
You have no idea, man.
Yeah.
If I keep listening to this glam shit next week, my hair's going to be all teased up. I'm going to look like that fucking croissant wig wearing motherfucker.
Nicole has an interesting one here. Pell was my boss for a year or so. I would love to pick your brain about how that went. Just not on the record, just for curiosity's sake. I wouldn't make you do it here, but just I'd be curious, just personally, to see how that works in the world. All right, here we go. We got some comments here, and this is what I was going to say before I went to my bin. Is everyone wish Dave a happy birthday for tomorrow? It's his birthday tomorrow. We'll do a post tomorrow, of course, but just give Dave a happy birthday while you're here, which has already started happening. So Nicole's going happy birthday for tomorrow. Ron, same thing, happy birthday. Darren too. Philo says my birthday is 10th of Feb, same day as Cliff Burton. Rest in peace. Wow, that's a hell of a fucking date to share. Nice. Nicole says, lol. Jeff says happy birthday, Dave, which is cool.
Thank you.
Jeff says toque. That's it. Rhymes with puke. Ironically, that's it.
Don't you do that on a bong?
That's toque.
Yeah, but Canadians pronounce things weirdly.
Here we go.
It's like the Canadian wrestlers. He threw me oot. Oot.
I got a bin to get to in a second. What do we got here? Sally says, killer bin from Dave. He's wearing pants. Luna driving closing is not the gov can fuck off quietly. Welcome back, boys. Thanks for joining us again.
Thank you.
Around.
You're wearing pants sucks, man.
Nicole says I'm about my own moral jump. I was still want to be curious about that one. All right. Vinny says the irony that I mentioned Pell and Dave's talking about being pricks. Fucking hell. We're on fire already this year. Dave, my wife thinks you're cute from Philo. That's the common theme. Dave is our looks.
I get that a lot, actually.
Yeah, Dave is the looks component.
To the detriment of my wife. She reads through the comments the day after and says, like, what the fuck have you said? Which women are talking about you this time? And I'm like, just be thankful they leave in a comment. You can't comment when your hands are busy.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Shut the fuck up now.
Oh, wow. Conrad has said, happy bust out, break free from escape from the womb day. Nice there. Here we go. Canadians invented the fucking thing. Here we go. And there's a lot of love. So Sally's gone. Happy birthday for Dave as well. And Nicole's just losing her shit. All righty. Nicole says Dave's OnlyFans. We do need to get that going.
I think we should, man. You're fucking millionaire. You see all those stories about, divorced housewife, single teacher or whatever.
Go,
makes $1 million after launching her OnlyFans. It'd be like, long-haired metalhead from fucking Australia who's an alcoholic makes $1 million. But, guys jerking off videos are sad. Women pleasing themselves, that's hot. You know, I can't do it.
Weird world.
I feel dirty already.
Vinny says THRS the After Hours edition. Nicole's in tears. Sally says, "Oh, he's cute." And here we go. Jeff says, "More like Dave's lonely fans." To which Phil's saying true. Oh, fuck. All right. I want to get my bin out of the way so we get out of here tonight. And I've got a rant. I have a rant, which will make no sense at all to Dave. But for me, this is going to feel so good.
Is this
says, Angry OnlyFans account featuring Dave. There we go. The Angry OnlyFans account. All right.
Fucking government has driven me through this shit.
Don't worry, Dave. You can still get pricked. All right.
For $50.
That can be your OnlyFans content. So anyway, my bin. I've been looking forward to this one. For those who know me and for those who've been playing along for a while, you'll know that I'm a big fan of the NFL and in particular the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, I'm not a bandwagon supporter. I've been following the Chiefs since Montana was the quarterback in the 90s. That was when I jumped on board, and they had a good couple of years, and it's been sort of hit and miss until Patrick Mahomes came along. Sorry, Alex Smith was good before that. Now, the Cincinnati Bengals, their shitty team and their shitty fan base can get in the fucking bin. And I'm not talking to the good ones because the good ones are like me. I remember when D Ford lined up offsides and cost us a Super Bowl appearance. The first year of Patrick Mahomes being the starter, and we would have been in the Super Bowl if it wasn't for D Ford fucking lining 3 inches up in the neutral zone. Fuck, that hurt. But there are good fans, and I'm not shitting on them in this particular take. But I am shitting on, by all means, the Cincinnati mayor, the Cincinnati Bengals saying, "We'll see you at Burrowhead." Go and get fucked. Did you forget who the hell you were playing? Now, you came into Arrowhead thinking it was going to be all fucking songs and dances. I tell you what, you have a great team and you should do a lot better, but you couldn't beat Patrick Mahomes on 1.5 legs, 8 rookie starters, most of them on defense, and the main cornerback goes out of the game as well on the second rep. We lost linebackers. We lost all of our fucking receiving core. We had a guy who had more catching balls, who had more tackles than catches in all the years of his career up to this point. That's who you couldn't beat. So when you talk about, start talking a whole lot of shit a week leading up to the playoffs, thinking you're going to fucking go to Burrowhead instead of Arrowhead and all this sort of shit. And I loved the way the Chiefs handled it leading up to it. They knew it was being said and they just referenced it saying, you know, people were asking certain players what impressed you about their offense, and someone said nothing. You know, Chris Jones comes out and says, "We'll see you all at Burrowhead" at the end of his fucking presser. He went and got his first ever postseason sacks, which is absolutely fantastic for him. I'm sorry, I'm getting right into the weeds of this thing, but I'm fucking loving it because the Bengals and the fan base that are crying over this, talking about the refs, you couldn't beat a team that was missing half its team, had 8 rookies on the field, and had their star quarterback on 1.5 legs, and you still couldn't get it done. Fuck off. And if you think that out of bounds, roughing the passer penalty wasn't legit, you fucking got rocks in your head. That's been called all day, every day, will be for all time. Like I said, to the good fans, I remember what it was like when D Ford cost us. And I feel bad for the player too, because he just made a mistake. But the shitty ones were just running their mouth for a week flat. You forgot, and you got schooled. Get in the fucking bin, you bunch of twits. Fuck, that felt good to get that win. Fuck, that felt good just to stick it to them. Now it's a rivalry.
Okay. Yeah. I got parts of that. You were talking about the Cincinnati mare, which I'm thinking is a horse. And there was a guy who was catching balls. So I'm thinking he's of that persuasion. So I kind of got part of what you were going. But, you know, I'm sure it made sense to some people.
I don't know if anyone else follows the NFL like I do, but my God, that felt good watching that play out this last week. And I can't believe that just for posterity here, Patrick Mahomes has been the start of 5 years now. We're going to our 3rd Super Bowl. It's like, wow. So it's an amazing accomplishment. And now with Brady retiring, if we can win next week, we'll be the only team with a quarterback with more than 1 Super Bowl ring. So like we're doing some pretty special things. And yeah, don't shit on the great ones because that was pretty cool. Darren says, Dave and a jar of KY gel. Going back onto the previous topic of discussion.
Oh, man, I just spilled.
Nicole's going, oh my God. TC says, we could make a men for no seasons calendar.
We were talking about a calendar last year. Actually, it was my wife's idea. She's like, why haven't you done a PHRS calendar? Yeah. But then it would just be us at the beach with like our beer guts and our fucking titties, and that's the shit you want to see.
Yeah. Philo says, saw the Chiefs slay the Lions on Wembley Stadium in 2015. That would have been fucking epic to see in person. All right. I'm sorry, Vinny. Vinny says, boo, Andrew, but credit to Mahomes playing injured like that. Maybe admire my man Purdy just as much. Yeah, and there are players all around the place. Brock Purdy did a fucking manly job. He has got to go through a massive elbow reconstruction after what happened in, the second drive or something like that. It was really, second play maybe of the game. So the 49ers were fucked at that point in time. So yeah, apologies, Vinny. You got injuries fucked you out of a good championship game, and then hopefully a Super Bowl appearance. That's a shame when that happens. But yeah, I know that you're a Niners, but yeah, for me, I had to give it to the Bengals this week. Fuck them. Philo says Jamal Charles. Jamal Charles was a beast, an absolute beast. Nicole says Chiefs of this year, the Eagles are going down. I hope it's going to be a cracking game. I'm not sitting here getting cocky about that. That's going to be a really good game. Two great players at the position from quarterback to quarterback, both carrying injuries. It's going to be I think it'll be a different game people expect. A lot more running and a lot more off-script kind of plays. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I'm hoping the Chiefs for this year. Obviously, I'm a big Chiefs fan, but yeah, the Eagles are a good team, and they ran Russia. They were the last team to be undefeated this season, so they've done that with good reason. Now, people say the schedule, but you can only play who you can play on the schedule, so they've done well to get where they are, and I look forward to seeing them next week. Jeff says, now tell us how you really feel, Andrew. Nice rant. Yeah, no, I've been sitting on that one. What do we got here? Rowan says, hoping that Dave goes into a spontaneous deep NRL retort of all Andrew's points. Good luck with that.
I'm not even sure what the NRL is. I like music. I like music, beer, horror movies, boobs, and alcohol.
I just swapped the sports for horror movies on your list there. So there we go. Yeah. Vinny says
we're gonna hang out, watch some wrestling, and watch some horror movies. Yeah. And I'll educate you in the ways of the darkness. It's good.
Vinny says, just quickly, there's a viral boot scooter called Jeb. He's a dead ringer for Andrew. Send photos. I have no idea who you're talking about, but I'd be curious.
Andrew boot scooting.
Yeah, that's not going to happen, so don't worry about that. Not even for OnlyFans. Nicole says Brady is finally retired. I did see Brady retire, and that was actually a pretty nice little video message you sent out earlier today. Vinny says, made total sense to me. The Nine has been there for ages, so yeah, it's been cool. Carl says, evening, guys and girls. We've jumped in right as we're jumping up. You can go back to the start and watch it later on. Philo says, isn't there such a thing as Aussie football? Yes, and I'm obsessed with that as well. So when I'm not watching not listening to music, I'm watching sports. It's kind of my relief, and then I go to bed and read books. So it's books, sports, and music is kind of where I'm at. Music.
I like wrestling. Wrestling's
good. Yeah.
Wrestling's real sport. That's what's happening. Now, if football was interesting, they'd give everybody a steel chair, and they'd have 4 goals. You'd have 4 fucking teams.
Here we go. We're getting right into it now.
Make it violent. That's what you want.
Yeah. Oh wow. Philo's got the
trampolines. Every sport is better with trampolines.
God. Philo says, got the Jamal Charles 25 jersey. That's a nice one, man. Well done. I do have a Mahomes jersey. My kids got it for me for Christmas, which is nice. Nicole says, I'm a 49ers fan. Nice. Cool. It's a shame they went out the way they did this year, but they'll be back again next year, I'm sure. Brock has surprised everyone. T says, next week I'm putting 5-minute rants about American sports in the bin. Bring it. Bring it, Tim. Nicole says, yeehaw. Ash says, go Bombers. And music and true crime here from Nicole. Nice. Phil says, I'm a Jets fan. Wow, that's a hell of a collection for a Jets fan. Nice.
I'll start getting into
hopefully you guys go better next year. Hopefully Gary Vaynerchuk can buy you a lot and put him in a better direction. But anyway, I think that'll do us for now. I think it's time to get out of here. We've been here for a long, long time. Anything else you want to throw in there, Dave, before we get out of here?
No, I've incriminated myself enough this week.
All right. On that note,
tune in next week for more stupid shit.
Yeah, join us same time and place next week for more dumb fucking nonsense and more 5-minute rants about nothing in particular at all that means anything to anyone at all. That's about it. So we'll see you all again. So hang on, Jeff's gone. Ice hockey on trampolines. Please explain, Dave. Oh man, I'd love to see
everything is better on trampolines. And make it happen.
Ice hockey on trampolines. Fucking hell.
Fucking wrestling on trampolines, man. Every sport on trampolines.
I'm sure they have that. Mud wrestling too.
Trampolines for fucking motor racing. Just fucking Yeah.
Oh my God. All righty, we got to go. Before we get out of here,
We
Carl
do.
says, I may have a tease of new Oppression album in a few weeks. Cool. Please send it through. Looking forward to hearing more of that band too.
Ooh.
And bye from Philo. All righty, we're going to get out of here. We got to get going. But we'll
Yeah.
see you all again, same time and place next week for more of our stupidity. So hopefully you're all enjoying this one. And thank you once again for spending some time with us, whether you're watching live or tuning in later on. Oh God, Nicole. You can buy scooters for tramps now.
Oh, yeah. It's happening. They'll take
wow.
over. It's a new viral sensation. Make this happen on TikTok.
Oh, yeah, it'll probably happen now too. Someone will
Yeah,
do it.
challenge a millennial. They do anything you tell them.
God, we'll challenge you to do it for OnlyFans. Vinny says, what an epic loony finish to a great stream. Thanks, gang. You're welcome. And Carl says, great, guys. Have a good night. Likewise, everyone, thank you so much for joining us. We're back
Cheers,
again,
everyone.
same time, place next week. We'll see you with more about stupidity then. Until next time, though, I'm Andrew.
I'm Dave.
As always,
Drink up
and rock on.
on
We're
a
outta here.
trampoline.
Wrong.
Oh, shit, we're back.
Be.